Hey guys! Welcome back to our channel, Deku Fiction. Today is 30 January, and we are back with amazing video on what if Deku had a leveling system and had mini harem. Izuku Midoriya was born into a society where quirks defined a person's worth, and those without them were treated as lesser. His parents, Hisashi and Inko, were both quirkless, forced to scrape by in a world that looked down on them at every turn. From a young age, Izuku endured constant bullying and ridicule, branded as weak and unnecessary by his peers. While his parents worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs just to keep their family afloat, they could never offer him the privileges or opportunities that came so easily to children blessed with quirks.
One day, when Izuku was just 6 years old, his parents were involved in a tragic car accident. They were both critically injured, and Izuku was left alone, forced to fend for himself. With no one to turn to, Izuku was placed in an orphanage, where he was constantly reminded of his quirkless status. He was relegated to menial tasks and was treated poorly by the staff and the other children. Now 14-year-old Izuku was standing on the roof of a building. His hero, idol, #1 hero and symbol of peace had abandoned him on a rooftop after telling him that he couldn't be a hero without a quirk. All Might's remarks left no space for question or disagreement, and they were delivered with such force that Izuku's hopes and dreams were crushed in an instant. Izuku. What's the meaning of living if nothing I accomplish ever meets the expectations of those around me? What's the purpose of trying if I'm constantly going to be treated as trash? What's the sense in going any farther if I'll never be happy, let alone satisfied with my life? He thought bitterly. Despite the harsh words and the crushing reality, a spark of determination ignited within Izuku. He wiped his eyes and took a deep breath. Izuku. I'll prove them wrong, he whispered to himself. I'll become a hero, no matter what it takes. As he walked home, his thoughts swirled in a storm of self-doubt and despair. He didn't notice when Katsuki Bakugo, his childhood friend turned bully, approached him from behind. Katsuki. Hey, Deku. Katsuki's voice was laced with scorn, yanking Izuku out of his daze. Izuku turned to face him, trying to mask his inner turmoil. Izuku. Kei-Kachan, he stammered. Katsuki. I heard what the Great All Might told you, he sneered, his eyes gleaming with cruel amusement. Did you think you could be a hero without a quirk? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Izuku's fists clenched at his sides, his knuckles turning white. He knew Katsuki would relish in his pain, but it still hurt to hear the words aloud. Izuku. I just wanted to try, he muttered, looking down. Katsuki stepped closer, his expression fierce. Katsuki. Try? That's all you ever do, Deku. Try and fail. You're useless without a quirk, and you know it. Izuku's eyes filled with tears, but he blinked them back, refusing to let Katsuki see him break. Izuku. Maybe I don't have a quirk, but I can still help people. I can still make a difference, he said, his voice trembling but resolute. Katsuki laughed harshly. Katsuki. Help people? With what? Your endless crying. Face it, Deku, you're nothing. You're always going to be nothing. Izuku. At least unlike you, I know what it means to truly struggle. One day, I'll be a hero, and I'll do it without bullying others or relying on brute strength. I'll be a hero with my heart and my mind, something you can never understand, he snapped at a blonde. Katsuki's eyes widened, and his face twisted with rage. Katsuki. What did you say? He growled, his voice low and dangerous. Izuku. You heard me, Kachan, he said, stepping closer, his fear melting away in the face of his resolve. A real hero doesn't need a quirk to save people. They need compassion and determination. That's what makes a true hero. The words struck a nerve deep within Katsuki. His fury erupted like a volcano, his fists crackling with explosive energy. Katsuki. Shut up, Deku. You don't know anything. Before Izuku could react, Katsuki's palm shot forward, releasing a massive explosion. The force of it was overwhelming, and Izuku felt the impact hit him square in the chest. Pain exploded through his body, and he was thrown backward, the sheer force of the blast creating a gaping hole in his chest. Izuku crumpled to the ground, gasping for air, his vision blurring as the agony surged through him. Blood pooled around him, and he could feel his consciousness slipping away. Katsuki stood over him, breathing heavily, his face a mask of shock and horror at what he had done. Katsuki. Deku. I didn't mean, he started, but his words faltered as he looked at the grievous injury he had inflicted. The world around Izuku began to fade, but even in his fading moments, his eyes remained locked onto Katsuki's. With his last bit of strength, he managed to speak, his voice a faint whisper. Izuku. I wish I had a chance. He whispered with tears until his eyes locked onto a blue box that appeared out of nowhere. Alarm. You have completed all the necessary requirements of the secret quest, Trial by Fire. Izuku. What is this? He stared at the box until it changed. You have earned the right to become a player, will you accept? His mind was fuzzy, and he could barely comprehend what he was seeing. But something inside him urged him to make a choice when the screen changed again. You do not have much time remaining, you will die in 5 seconds. Izuku. Yes, I accept. Alarm. Welcome, player. After that everything went dark, but little did he don't know how his life was going to change. 1 week later, Izuku shot up, gasping for oxygen and looking around. The sunshine was streaming into the room as it gently lowered over the horizon. He keeps looking around, realizing he is in a hospital and pulls on his hospital dress. Izuku. What happened? He questions no one. A nurse and doctor run in, and Izuku looks over. Hi, he says sheepishly, and the nurse giggles softly. Saito. Hello, Midoriya Izuku. My name is Dr. Saito and I'm your doctor. I must say that it is a miracle that you are still alive after what happened to you a week ago. The doctor looks at the chart sheet. Izuku. I've been sleeping for 1 week. His voice echoes around the room. Sorry. But still 1 week. What happened? Izuku closed his mouth before finishing. Flashback. Katsuki. Shut up, Deku. You don't know anything. Before he could react, Katsuki's palm shot forward, releasing a massive explosion. The force of it was overwhelming, and he felt the impact hit him square in the chest. Pain exploded through his body, and he was thrown backward, the sheer force of the blast creating a gaping hole in his chest. And he blacked out. Flashback end. Izuku. How did I survive? He said while taking a shaky breath. Dr. Saito pulled up a chair and sat down. Saito. It was a huge hole in your chest. It's a miracle you survived. But you're going to be okay. Your injuries are healed well. But gave a big scar. The doctor remained silent before speaking. Midoriya-kun, have you ever had a quirk before? Caught off guard, Izuku shook his head. Izuku. No, I was born quirkless, he said in a sad tone. Saito. Then it appears that your quirk has finally materialized and must be an extremely powerful enhancer and healing type so that you recover quickly, he said, shocking the greenie who had tears in his eyes. Recent research has found that late bloomers and those who manifested quirks after a traumatic event are considerably more powerful than those who manifested their quirks at the age of 4. So, there's no doubt in my mind that your quirk will get stronger in the following years. Izuku. So, do you think I can become a hero? The doctor smiled kindly as he answered with a nod. Saito. Yes, I know you can. Izuku bursts into tears of joy since he is finally able to live out his dream after so long, and the doctor asks as he stares at him. Saito. So, young Midoriya, now that your quirk is registered, what will you call it? Izuku quickly wiped tears and thought seriously before answering, staring him in the eye. Izuku. Can you give me some time? This is still too much for me. The doctor nodded and told him to take some rest. As the doctor and nurse went, Izuku whispered a thank you and lowered his head. After the door closes, Izuku looks above and notices a familiar blue message. Message. You have unread mail. Izuku. So this is my quirk. They couldn't see it, he muttered, lost in his rapid thoughts. He removes the shirt, revealing no bandages but a huge X-shaped scar along with his old ones. Then he sighs and rubs his eyes. He peeks between his fingers at the box above him, then slowly reaches up, but his hand passes through the screen. Izuku. I guess it's not a touch screen, he muttered again. Now how do I open it? Then something clicks on his mind. Open mailbox, he said as the screen quickly changed. Message. Welcome. Player, unread, daily quest. Preparing to become strong, has arrived. Unread. Izuku. Open daily quest. he said smoothly. Alarm. The system will help the player's growth. Alarm. If he fails to obey the system's orders, there may be a penalty. Alarm. Your starter reward has arrived. Accept, or decline. Izuku. Accept. As soon as Izuku said that, there was a flash of blue light that lit up the room. When the light died down, he couldn't help but marvel at the sight. In his hand, there was a beautiful sword. Izuku. It's beautiful, he whispered in awe. When he tries to inspect the sword, a blue screen of menu pops up. Sword of Omen, item rank, type, sword. Durability, unbreakable, description. The Sword of Omen is a legendary blade of amazing power, respected in the past. This weapon, created in the center of a dying star and infused with the Eye of Thundera, combines both power and magic. The sword also has a second form. A beautiful, deadly dagger that keeps the blade's heavenly abilities. History. The Sword of Omen, wielded by the ancient hero who destroyed the darkness, is searched by many but held by only one. Its power is claimed to be connected to the wielder's heart, responding to their will and increasing their resolve to fight. Abilities. Abilities are currently locked. Transformation. The Sword of Omen can transform into a dagger, retaining all its abilities and adapting them for close quarters combat. The transformation is instantaneous, allowing for seamless switches between forms during battle. Stats. Dagger mode. Damage. Attack speed. Critical hit chance. Special effect. Stats. Sword mode. Damage. Speed. Critical hit chance. Special effect. Warning. The Sword of Omen is an extremely powerful weapon, and its wielder is both feared and respected on the battlefield. However, its ultimate potential is hidden until its holder has raised their level to level 50. Otherwise, it is practically useless. Izuku's eyes widened in disbelief. Izuku. Level 50. But how'd I? He was interrupted when the screen changed. Message. Daily quest. Preparing to become strong has arrived, unread. Izuku. Check. He watches as the box changes once more into an even bigger box. Quest directions. Daily quest. Getting ready to become powerful. Goal. Incomplete. Push-ups. 0 100ths. Incomplete. Curl-ups. 0 100ths. Incomplete. Squats. 0 100ths. Incomplete. Running. 0 tenths of a kilometer. Warning. Failing to complete this daily quest will bring a punishment associated with this quest. A clock was at the bottom of the message while Izuku read through the quest. Izuku's face is set in determination. Izuku. If I want to become a hero, I can do this. No, I have to do this, he said and put his sword in his inventory. He dropped to the ground, assuming the push-up position. Izuku. 1, 2, 3. He counted aloud. As he reached 30, his arms started to shake, but he kept pushing through. 40, 50, 60. Each number was a testament to his determination. After what felt like an eternity, he finally reached 100. Panting, he collapsed on the grass, staring up at the ceiling. Izuku. Okay. Next is curl-ups, he said, trying to catch his breath. He sat up and started his curl-ups, his core burning with each movement. 1, 2, 3. Sweat began to pour down his face, but he didn't stop. He knew he couldn't afford to fail. Halfway through his curl-ups, he muttered to himself. Izuku. Remember why you're doing this, Izuku. You want to be a hero. For your father. Your mother. You need to be strong. Finally completing the 100 curl-ups, he groaned and rolled onto his back, staring up at the ceiling once more. Izuku. No time to rest, he reminded himself. He stood up shakily and began his squats, counting each one. 1, 2, 3. The rhythm of his movements became a mantra, blocking out the pain. By the time he finished his squats, his legs felt like jelly. Izuku. Last one, he whispered as sneaked his way from the hospital, running. He started a slow jog around the park, gradually picking up the pace. His lungs burned and his legs screamed in protest, but he kept going. Izuku. 4 kilometers down, 6 more to go, he panted. As he reached the 8-kilometer mark, he could barely keep his eyes open, but he pushed himself to continue, the thought of failing and facing punishment fueling his determination. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he completed the 10 kilometers. He stumbled to a stop, hands on his knees, gasping for breath. Izuku. I did it, he whispered, a smile of pure exhaustion and triumph spreading across his face. I really did it. Collapsing onto the grass, Izuku looked up at the sky, his body aching but his heart filled with determination. Izuku. If this is what it takes to become powerful, then I'll do it every day. No matter what. Izuku staggered back to his hospital room, every muscle in his body screaming in protest. He was drenched in sweat, his clothes sticking uncomfortably to his skin. He was so tired he didn't check the reward box. With a relieved sigh, he collapsed onto the hospital bed, feeling the cool sheets soothe his aching body. As soon as he lay down, the door to his room creaked open. Dr. Saito walked in holding a clipboard. He raised an eyebrow at Izuku, noticing the boy's exhausted state. Saito. Back from your training, I see, he said, his tone a mix of concern and curiosity. You are just back from death. You really should take it easy, you know. Izuku managed a tired but determined smile. Izuku. I can't afford to take it easy, doctor. I have to get stronger, and I think I've finally decided on a name for my quirk. Dr. Saito sat down in the chair next to the bed, his interest piqued. Saito. Oh, and what name have you chosen? Izuku took a deep breath, summoning the last of his strength. Izuku. Ready Player One. I want to call it Ready Player One. The doctor looked at him thoughtfully. Saito. That's an interesting choice. Why that name? Izuku's eyes lit up with passion, despite his fatigue. Izuku. Because it is like a game. A game where I have to complete quests to level up and get stronger. Each day is a new challenge, a new quest that brings me closer to becoming the hero I want to be. He half lied because he didn't know its full potential. Dr. Sato smiled, nodding slowly. Saito. I see. It's quite fitting, considering how hard you've worked today. Izuku nodded vigorously. Izuku. Exactly. Every quest, every task I complete, it's like leveling up. It makes me stronger, bit by bit. The doctor stood up, placing a reassuring hand on Izuku's shoulder. Saito. Well, Midoriya just promised me you'll take care of yourself too. Even the best players need to rest. Izuku chuckled softly, his eyelids growing heavy. Izuku. I promise, doctor. I'll rest when I need to. Dr. Sato gave a final nod before heading towards the door. Saito. Get some rest, Izuku. Tomorrow's quests will still be there when you wake up, he said jokingly. As the door closed behind him, Izuku allowed himself to finally relax. He stared at the ceiling, a small smile playing on his lips. Izuku. Ready Player One, he whispered to himself, time to level up. And with that, he drifted off into a well-earned sleep, dreaming of the hero he was determined to become. A few days later, two nurses were talking near a window while enjoying their break. Nurse 1. So, did you notice the kid they brought whose quirk appeared recently? She said, drinking her coffee slowly. Nurse 2. Yes, he has been running every day since he recovered. She turned to see Izuku pass by them. Nurse 1. Is that okay for him to do? Nurse 2. If it's light exercise, it's okay. Izuku came to a stop supporting himself on his knees and panting, with a slight smirk on his face regardless of his huffing and sweating. Alarm. Running 10 kilometers. Complete, 10/10ths of a kilometer. Izuku. No one else can see the messages or alarms. That's good. He decided to mess around with his quirk before he went back to school. I wonder what will happen if I don't complete daily quests. He said before shrug. Who knows? In front of him, his daily quest opens completely, showing that he completed everything. Quest rewards. Choose your reward. You may choose one of the rewards below. Reward number 1. Status recovery reward number 2. Stat points +3. Reward number 3. Random box +1. Will you accept, or reject? Izuku. Accept status recovery. He stood up straighter as golden lights enveloped him like magic, allowing him to breathe normally again. He didn't feel fatigued anymore. Magic that eliminates fatigue after exercising. Seems like cheating, he whispers to himself while chuckling, before sitting down on the bench. Izuku extends his hand as the box appears within it. He could boost any of the character's stats at will, as long as he got stat points. Some stats are changed: status, name, Izuku Midoriya, level, 1 class, none alias, none HP, 200 megapixels, 150. Strength, 16 vitality, 10 agility, 10 intelligence, 10 sense, 10 fatigue, 0 remaining points, 3 Izuku. I gain strength as my stats grow. Of course, greater levels would do the same. A soft sigh escaped from his mouth as he spent all points in strength. My life has become a video game. He thinks before pulling up his skills and inventory sheets as he sits back against the bench, checking the boxes. This is crazy. Izuku dresses in what he receives as daily quest rewards. He wasn't sure why, but the doctor hadn't discharged him yet. He didn't mind, but he needed to try something out. Izuku. Can I leave for today? He asks the receptionist. He yawned while rubbing his hair. Receptionist. That's okay, but where are you going? She asks without looking up. Izuku. I need to go see a friend. I have to get my homework. He lies easily and she lets him go. Izuku quickly makes his way to a subway station near the hospital and arrives at the door. He looks down the stairs before pulling a golden key from his inventory system. Izuku. Let's see what this does. The random box from that morning gave him a key that instructed him where to go. Dungeon key, item rank, common, type, key, description. A key that allows you to create an instant dungeon. You may use this in the third entrance of XX location XX. Izuku. A key that unlocks an instant dungeon. Yeah, this feels like a game. He swallows calmly. I guess I should give it a try. If this is what my quirk wants, then I'm way behind in training. Izuku mutters to himself as others walk by, ignoring him as they normally do. He holds out the key and exhales. Izuku. No more running away, no more being weak. The key lights up, and the sound of electricity fills the area around him. Blue light flows from the bottom of the stairs, creating what appears to be a doorway. Izuku goes downstairs and passes through the entrance. Alarm! You have entered the instant dungeon. Izuku took a deep breath before hearing what sounded like cracking. He turns around to look at the blue doorway beginning to transform into a wall, and a new message appears. Alarm! You cannot leave the dungeon. Either kill the boss or use the return crystal. Izuku's heart raced. Izuku. There's no turning back now, he murmured to himself. I have to kill the boss and complete this dungeon to get out. A loud howl echoes from the depths of the passageway, and Izuku shakes his head before rising straighter. He walks forward, fists clenched at his side. The flickering lights above him and the shattered sidewalk gave the subway station a menacing atmosphere. Izuku. All right, Izuku, he muttered to himself. You faced worse. It's just an abandoned subway station. Izuku looks around and notices grass spreading between the cracks. As Izuku approached a turning point, all of the store gates were closed and locked in place. Suddenly, a hissing growl comes from the left. Izuku's eyes concentrate on it as a red-furred beast jumps at him, preparing to rip his head off. Izuku jumps backward, avoiding the creature as it skids across the floor. Izuku. A wolf, he thinks as he lowers his stance, staring until a name appears over the beast's head. Steel Fang Okami. The beast had red fur and what appeared to be a metal lower jaw. Izuku. Ah, that's why it's called Steel Fang, he says, clenching his fist and dragging his leg back. I've never fought in my life, always beaten up, but this time I will fight. Izuku jumps to the side as the wolf attempts to attack him. The wolf attacks again, forcing Izuku to move his head to the left as the metal jaws slam shut where his head is. He jumps backward, cartwheels away, flips, and crashes on his head with his back against the metal wall. Izuku felt the world was upside down. He tilts his head slightly. Izuku. Huh. He pushes himself off the floor and effortlessly performs a perfect handstand. My body is lighter than before. Izuku pushes himself off the floor with his hands before standing up and landing on 2 feet. He stood face to face with the beast as it was getting ready for another attack. He pulls his fist back. Izuku. I nearly lost my life a few days ago. I am not dying right now. Not till I achieve my goals. he said as he smashed his fist into the wolf's metal jaw. The wolf's jaw slammed shut, and its body was thrown backward against the metal gates, crushing them through. He stumbles back slightly, raising his hand. Seeing a soft green glow around his hand, he does nothing but a small smirk was on his face. Just as I expected, if I improve my stats, I'll be powerful, too. I will be able to get into the UA high now, after 10 pathetic years of being a quirkless kid. A growl knocks him out of his thoughts, forcing him to look down. He watches the wolf walk out of the damaged shopfront. Not yet, it is still stronger than I am. Zero, he thought angrily as the wolf charged towards him. Izuku rushes forward, meeting the wolf and punching the beast as many times as possible without being captured in its teeth. Seeing his attacks not working, he leaps back again. Izuku. It's not working. I don't have a weapon to. His thoughts were interrupted when he had to jump away, but not before receiving a claw mark on his thigh from the beast. Said beast crashed to the metal gate, creating a hole. Inventory. He shouted as the blue screen appeared next to him. The wolf claws itself out of the metal hole. Izuku scans the weapons page, noticing 2 sword icons. His hand rapidly reaches into the screen, grabs the second one's handle, and pulls the weapon out. Izuku. My second reward from the other day. If I can't wield the Sword of Omen yet, I'll use an ordinary one. He spoke as a simple blade appeared from the screen. Steel blade. Item rank common. Type. Sword. Attack. 10. Izuku didn't have time to check his numbers when the wolf attacked him. He swings in a forward motion, chopping the beast in half with the animal's forward momentum. Its body lands behind him, splattering blood across the walls. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You have defeated the Steel Fang Okami. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. Izuku exhales, holding the sword in front of him. An unknown sound causes him to look down the hallway, where 2 more names appear next to each other. Red eyes scan the darkness that surrounds the beast he just killed. Izuku. You want me dead, so come and get me. He yelled and pulled the blade up, only to find that the sharp end of the sword was stuck in the floor. I didn't swing that hard, did I? He grabs and pulls with both hands as he hears the steel fangs coming towards him. Oh, come on. He shouted as the wolves came close and jumped at him. Izuku shouts in rage as he rips the sword from the stone and cuts into the air in a matter of seconds. The first beast was just cut on the side. The second one tightened the blade in its sharp teeth. Izuku swallows the spit. The beast was looking directly at him. Izuku immediately brings his knee up, hitting the creature's chest and sending it into the air. Izuku removes the blade from the wolf's mouth and cuts it in half. The first wolf stares at its partner before focusing on Izuku, who stands up straight. Izuku. You monsters are a bunch of weaklings. Even Katsuki could probably take care of you, he remarked, seeing the beast lower itself and disappear into the shadows. Only red eyes remained before it vanished too. Izuku pulls up his stat sheet, seeing that each state level has increased by 1. He also unlocks the skills faction. Status. Name. Izuku Midoriya. Level. 2. Alias. None. HP. 200 fifths. MP. 175 fifths. Strength. 20. Vitality. 11. Agility. 11. Intelligence. 11. Sense. 11. Skills. Passive. Muscularity. 1. Active. Sprint. 1. Fatigue. 3. Remaining points. 1. Izuku. I already gave all of my points to strength. Even so, every time I level up, each stat increases by 1. He rubs his chin, staring at the blue screen in front of him. Clearing the daily quest gives me 3 stat points, and leveling up increases all stats by 1. I received a total of 5 points. Izuku took a deep breath, doing his best to keep the information in order because he didn't have his notebook with him. Izuku. Monster hunting and leveling are more effective ways to obtain stat points. How much stronger do I get per stat point? He questioned himself. Wait. Are my stats balanced? Izuku stares down at the 2 bodies of the monsters who attacked him. He approaches them and carefully touches the jaw, then grabs one of its teeth and pulls it out. It shows information on it. Raken's Fang. Item rank none. Type, junk. Description. A large and sharp fang of a raken. Note. You can keep it in your inventory or sell it in the store. Izuku. There is even a store here. As he speaks, the store screen appears next to him, while he is kneeling over the dead creature. He presses the buy button, but the system notifies him that he is not of high enough level to purchase from the store. Okay. New players can't use this function then, what about selling? He presses the sell button before pressing yes. 20 gold. I'm not sure how much it's worth because it's not cash, this is a dungeon. He sighs before standing. I can't leave till I've killed the boss. I always have the return crystal, but I don't think I can return it if I use it. He grunts at the complexity, yet a smirk spreads across his face. This is my quirk, though, what do you think now, Kachan? He looks at the blade as blood runs down it, but he does not feel sick or scared, instead, he feels determination. I can do this. A low growl can be heard at the end of the hallway going into the station's deeper levels. Izuku turns around to see a lone wolf with crimson eyes glaring at him. Then multiple crimson eyes appear behind the visible wolf. They all start moving towards him. He strengthens his grip on the blade and stares at each of them. Izuku. There's nothing to fear, he says aloud while holding the blade. I'm pretty sure I already died once before. He lunges forward at the same time as Okami. Izuku begins to attack, mixing green and blue with each attack, slicing through one wolf after another. A wolf appeared behind him, biting his jacket. He instantly slashed backward and killed the wolf. Izuku. I will not die that easily. He glares at the wolves in front of him. So, all of you should fight harder. Or else I'll feel bad. He said as his eyes glowed blue before he attacked with fury. The entire world is meant for fighting. He kills 3 wolves before slaughtering more. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. Izuku. Fighting with everything on the line. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. Izuku. The weak have no right to life. He thought as he killed another beast. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. A wolf attempts to bite Izuku's arm, only to be sliced in half. Izuku. Only the strongest will survive. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. Izuku smashes a wolf down, leading the sharp end of his blade between its steel jaws. Izuku. Only the strongest will survive. He thought as slicing another wolf. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. Izuku smashes a wolf down, leading the sharp end of his blade between its steel jaws. Izuku. If I die today, I will never be a hero. I'll never save anyone. He walks towards the monsters, pulling the blade out of the one he killed. I am not going to keep my head down like a weakling anymore. He swings the sword in front of him before gripping the handle with 2 hands. If I can get stronger, I will follow these rules to get there. He yells and dashes forward, sword back, ready to attack. A few moments later, exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. The hallway was filled with the corpses of the beasts he had killed. Blood sprayed on the walls and ceiling. As he moved closer to the station, blood sprayed across his neck and face. He steps into the wide space where the gates are. He twists his head to see a wall of darkness and crimson eyes. Waiting for his blood, Izuku turns to face them, breathing out calmly. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You have unlocked a new skill, Kaioken. Kaioken. Skill type power-up skill. Description. The Kaioken is a powerful power-up technique that temporarily increases the user's powers, doubling their stats for a limited time. Abilities. Stat boost. When activated, Kaioken doubles the user's stats, including strength, speed, agility, and endurance, making them significantly more powerful and resilient. Enhanced combat. The sudden rise in power strengthens the user's combat abilities, allowing them to unleash destructive blows and with lightning-fast speed dominate opponents. Stats boost. Strength. X2. Speed. X2. Agility. X2. Endurance. X2. Mana, stamina consumption. 200. Warning. Overuse of Kaioken may cause serious physical injury, mana depletion, and even temporary loss of consciousness. Izuku. A skill that could increase my stats in exchange for stamina and mana. Yeah, I will use this technique as a last resort. he said as he closed the menu and opened inventory. 34 wolf fangs, 2 worn daggers, traveler's clothes, and Hearthstone Aka the return crystal. He mutters as he looks at his inventory. That was more than I expected. Hearthstone, he said as the stone appeared in his hand with a blue glow. Should I just go back? Izuku analyzes the stone before placing it back in the inventory. Izuku. No, there's no guarantee that there will be another chance to get stronger this easily. The random box gave me the key to become stronger. There's no way I am losing the opportunity. He continues to walk over dead beast bodies, scanning the area carefully. For the first time, I can learn about my own quirk without it feeling weird or ominous. He continues his march across the station, killing any new monsters that appear. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. The blue glow of his eyes sparkles in the darkness as he breathes out. He glances down at the monster, noticing the once orange name becoming silver. Izuku. Every time I level up, the fight against the monsters, he squeezes his teeth before chopping another wolf. It becomes a little easier. He slices up what appears to be a huge baboon and a black panther. You have slain Razor Claw Briga. You have slain Black Shadow Raisin. Izuku. The color of the name changes according to the monster's strength. White indicates it's weak, orange means strong, and red, he shivers just a little thinking about that kind of thing. Too strong. He swipes his blade in the air, getting blood off of it as he continues inspecting the beasts. The once orange wolves have turned white. It means I become stronger, a lot stronger, yet even with my current strength, I'm not sure I can beat down whatever is waiting for me down there. He looks down a foggy stairway with overgrown grass on the cement stairs. I'm getting chills. Izuku. Maybe my senses have improved, but I can tell how powerful the monster below is. He examines his status sheet. My level doesn't seem to be rising anymore. Status. Name. Izuku Midoriya. Level. 15. Class. None. Alias. None. HP. 1111/05. MP. 200/200. Strength. 35. Vitality. 24. Agility. 24. Intelligence. 24. Sense. 24. Skills. Passive. Muscularity. 1. Active. Sprint. 1. Kaioken. Max. Fatigue. 30. Remaining points. 7. Izuku. In addition, if I continue battling irrationally, my sword will eventually break down. He quickly accepts his decision and walks the steps into the darkness that awaits him. It takes some time, and he mutters to himself as the silence surrounds his steps. These staircases seem longer than the others. Once he reached the bottom, he noticed the flooded region and overgrown grass everywhere. Is this really a subway station? He reached the bottom without noticing a creature until his eyes shifted to a presence on his left. He draws his blade up just in time as something hits it hard. Izuku. Fast. Izuku pushes against it while the steel clashing makes a shrieking sound. Then his body is whipped across the platform, colliding with a pillar, shattering and denting it. Gah. He coughs out blood while strongly holding the sword. He lands on his buttocks and catches his breath. A few inches above his head, there was fractured concrete and a hole. He swiftly brings up his blade to prepare for another blow, only to discover that it has broken. Izuku looks at it with disbelief. Izuku. I thought I leveled up more. He stands up and stares at a huge snake. While hissing, a name appears above its shovel-shaped head. Venonazura. The sapphire serpent. The gigantic blue snake curls back, towering over the green-haired boy. Izuku. You must be the boss, but your name's still orange. The snake's jaw widens, with fangs showing. Each fang appeared to contain metal as they shined in the faint light. Izuku turns the broken sword in his palm and grips it so that the blade points backward like a dagger. Izuku swiftly looks at the snake, whose scales appear hardened. Izuku. A sword cannot pierce those, and punches are also useless. His mind runs for the solution to solve this situation, but the snake takes the offensive. He jumps to the left before assaulting the snake's side, but all he hears is clanks. I need a fast attack with power behind it. He shouts at himself as the blade fails to cut anything. At the same time, I need to weaken this guy's defense. He glances up and sees the snake's bright red eyes and silver teeth from above. The enormous body glides in front of him, and he swiftly turns to face its head. How can I deal with these thick scales? The snake moves quickly, forcing Izuku to dodge faster until the bottom of the snake's body whips forward, which Izuku blocks with his shattered blade. He pressed his forearm against the flat side of the edge to provide stability. Izuku. I might die if it hits me straight. He grits his teeth harder, attempting to stop the ongoing attack, until the snake sweeps its tail upwards, shifting Izuku's block. The snake moves as quickly as a viper, ramming its body into him, causing pain. The snake eventually pauses, and he lands on his hands and knees, groaning. Izuku. I thought I became a little stronger. But I am still lacking. He looks at the ground. How much stronger do I have to get? He grabs his sword properly, just as the snake's mouth and head are inches away. To escape from my past is the weakest. His blade collided with the snake's metal fang, breaking both and causing sparks. The snake continued his assault until his tail struck Izuku in the back, sending him face first into the concrete wall, making cracks spread throughout the wall. Izuku stumbled, his vision blurred, the impact echoed throughout the structure, causing cracks to spread over its surface. His body screamed in agony, but he could not afford to rest. He forced himself up from his knees, his shaking fingers bracing against the broken wall. As Izuku forced himself to stand, memories flooded his thoughts, each one a scar pierced into his soul. He remembered the accident that killed his parents when he was 6 years old, leaving him alone in a world that was bound to break him. He remembered all the taunting, insults, and mockery from his fellow students who mocked him for being quirkless, for being different. The words were still echoing in his mind. You'll never be a hero. You're just a useless Deku. He gripped his fist, his knuckles white with exertion. His thoughts turned to All Might, the symbol of peace, who had earlier told him to give up on his goal of becoming a hero. His words were hurt more than an injury, a betrayal from the person he admired beyond all others. Then there was Bakugo, his childhood friend and tormentor. Bakugo had always been stronger, the best, and he had made Izuku aware of this. He remembered Bakugo nearly killing him, aggressively using his explosive quirk. Izuku. Whatever the opponent does, pure strength will overwhelm you, and fear will make your knees collapse and toes dig into the ground. I was ignored because I was weak. He didn't notice that his eyes were ice blue rather than the usual bright green, and a faint red aura surrounded him. He sprints forward, and the snake follows him with his mouth open and fangs ready. Izuku dodged and slashed the snake's abdomen. He lands before tearing the scales further, and the snake strikes past him. He jumps as the snake's head reaches him. He dodges left again, but this time the snake turns its head and snaps at his hand, forcing him to lose the sword. Izuku. I am not afraid of you. He growls loudly before leaping. The red aura grows bigger as a menu pops up. Skill activated. Kaioken. He is wrapping his arms around the snake's neck, just behind its head. Veins show through his skin as he squeezes around the snake's neck, grasping and burying his fingers against the scales. The scales tear under each of his fingers as he squeezes the snake tighter, and the sound of scales snapping causes Izuku to crush the snake even more. Izuku. I put all my points into strength. The snake rises into the air, attempting to throw Izuku off its body, but he remains stable. The snake's body hits Izuku into the ceiling, causing him to bleed from the head, yet he refuses to let it go. Izuku. Die. The snake starts spitting out blood as his fingers and arms destroy the scales around it by crushing the snake's neck. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. You leveled up. You leveled up. Izuku stood over the fallen serpent, his chest soaring from strain as he tried to catch his breath. Despite the pain and fatigue, he let out a laugh full of pride and victory. He'd done it. He had demonstrated his strength, not just to the world, but also to himself. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You have slain Venonazara, the sapphire serpent. In the middle of nowhere, in a distant, shadowy place, a raven-haired figure stood beside a window, staring out at a night landscape. The room was mildly lighted, and the shadows seemed to dance around him, attracted to his presence. A shadowy person appeared behind him, kneeling respectfully. He was one of the most faithful and powerful shadows, bowing his head low. How was his progress? His voice was soft, but it carried the weight of command. The shadow lifted his head slightly, his glowing red eyes meeting his. Shadow. The raven-haired man's lips curled into a smirk, a rare expression that hinted at his satisfaction. Good, he murmured. He's making good progress. Then, he walked away from the window, already thinking about the next steps in his complex planning. We will meet soon. Shadow. With that, the shadow soldier vanished into the darkness, leaving the raven-haired guy alone with his thoughts. He had been watching Izuku for some time, impressed by the young hero's potential and the difficulties he had encountered. Their paths were bound to cross, and he was curious to see how Izuku would handle the trials that were ahead. As he stood in the dark light, a sense of purpose filled the space. The world was huge, and the forces at work were more powerful than anybody could understand. However, certain threads in this huge fabric were meant to come together. And when they did, the consequences would be felt far and wide. Then his smile widened into a grin, his determination fueled by the hope of what lay ahead. Soon, Izuku Midoriya, soon, we shall see what you are truly capable of, he said as his eyes glowed blue. Izuku was still in his hospital room, performing sit-ups because he had nothing better to do than his daily quest. His hair covers his eyes, and his hands lay on the back of his head. After killing the boss, he got a new dagger from the boss as well as his stats raised. Status. Name. Izuku Midoriya. Level. 18. Class. None. Alias. None. HP. 2520 MP. 375 Strength. 48. Vitality. 28. Agility. 28. Intelligence. 28. Sense. 28. Skills. Passive. Muscularity. 2. Active. Sprint. 2. Kaioken. Max. Fatigue. 3. Remaining points. 13. The once tiny, frail-looking green-haired boy now resembled a work of art. Each muscle was defined and appeared to be cut specifically for his physique. Sweat rolls down his abdomen. He stands up and shifts the slide-out bed beneath the main hospital bed before beginning his push-ups. A constantly growing puddle of sweat forms beneath his torso. The baby fat that used to puff up his cheeks was gone, as were his weak-ass noodle arms, as Katsuki would say. Today is the day he will be discharged from the hospital. As he was doing push-ups, his thoughts were reflecting his past. He had once been known as the quirkless boy, the weakling who idolized heroes despite lacking any special abilities himself. But today, everything was different. Today, he is no longer quirkless. After doing his daily quest and changing his clothes, he goes to the doctor's room. Shortly later, Izuku is handed a slip from the doctor to excuse him for being absent from classes. After leaving the hospital, his journey took him back to a small, modest apartment on the outskirts of the city, the place he had called home for years. This apartment, left to him by his late father, had been his sanctuary after a series of hardships. His parents had died in a tragic accident when he was only 6, leaving him to fend for himself. The orphanage, which should have been a refuge, had instead cast him out when it became clear he had no quirk. Life had been an uphill battle ever since. Unlocking the door, Izuku stepped inside. The apartment was tidy, a testament to his diligence and independence. He had learned to take care of himself out of necessity, but it had also shaped him into the resilient person he is today. He placed the doctor's slip on the small table in the living room and sighed. The room was filled with memories, both bitter and sweet. Pictures of his parents were placed lovingly on a shelf, a constant reminder of what he had lost and what he still fought for. Izuku made his way to the kitchen, his mind swirling with thoughts of the past and the future. As he prepared a simple meal, he couldn't help but reflect on his journey. Being quirkless had made him the target of bullies and the object of pity. But it had also made him determined. With the meal ready, he sat down at the small dining table. He ate slowly, savoring the food and the moment. For the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of peace. He is no longer the quirkless boy who had been abandoned and overlooked. He is Izuku Midoriya, the owner of Gamer Quirk, and his journey is just beginning. After finishing his meal, Izuku cleaned up and headed to his bedroom. He lay down on his bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind wandered to his parents, wondering if they were proud of him. He hoped they could see him now, hoped they knew that despite everything, he had not given up. Sleep came slowly, but it was peaceful. Izuku dreamed of a future where he stood among the greatest heroes, not just as an observer, but as one of them. The path ahead was uncertain and filled with challenges, but for the first time in his life, Izuku felt ready to face them head-on. The next day, Izuku yawns since his fluffy green hair is a mess, and he packs his bags for school even though he doesn't want to attend. He did his daily quest, then cleaned up by taking a shower and cooking breakfast by himself. He started working out for his goals and developed a healthier diet. After finishing, he prepares for school. The corridors of Aldera Middle School were filled with whispers and sidelong stares as Izuku quickly made his way to his classroom. He'd observed a shift in how others saw him after the incident that changed him. Now, holding a slip, he pushed open the classroom door. As Izuku entered the classroom, everyone turned to look at him, but his expression remained cold and firm. His once plain appearance had transformed. His eyes were sharper, his body language more confident, and his attitude colder. Whispers spread like wildfire throughout the room. "Is that Midoriya?" one student murmured. "No way. He looks completely different," another whispered. Izuku walked slowly to the front, where a pig in the name of being teacher was sitting at the teacher's desk. He handed him the slip without speaking. "Pig, what is this?" he asked, still taken aback by his changed look. "Izuku, it's the excuse the quirk specialist told me to offer you for being late," he said coldly, making everyone flinch. Then they bombarded him with questions. "Do you actually have a quirk? What's your quirk? What does it do? Is it strong? Is that cool?" The teacher raised her hands, trying to quiet the students. "Pig, settle down, everyone. Let's give him a chance to explain." He turned to Izuku, his eyes narrowing slightly. "I think we would all like to hear about your quirk since you didn't have one before." "Izuku, I'm not going to tell you the name of my quirk," he said, his gaze swept across the room, his eyes cold and hard. "But I can tell you this, it's strong. And if any of you try to stop me from becoming a hero, I'll make your life hell." A shocked silence followed his words. For years, Izuku had been the target of their bullying, the quirkless boy they all looked down on. Now, he stood before them, not as a victim, but as someone to be reckoned with. Some of his classmates shifted uncomfortably, feeling a shiver run down their spines at the brutality of his words. A few boys who had been quick to ask questions wisely fell silent, sensing the change in his demeanor. On the other hand, some girls couldn't help but blush at his newfound confidence and attractiveness. The pig regained his composure and said, "Pig, thank you, Midoriya. Let's all get back to our work." Izuku took his seat, ignoring the comments and stares. As he sat down, his classmates continued to talk among themselves, giving sneaky stares in his direction. "Did you see how cold he was?" one boy whispered to his friend. "Yeah, it's like he's a completely different person," the friend replied. "I never thought I'd see the day Midoriya would talk to us like that," another student added, shaking her head in disbelief. Some of the girls in the class were blushing, stealing shy glances at Izuku's new, confident appearance. "He looks kind of cool now," one of them giggled, nudging her friend. "I know, right? Who knew he had it in him?" her friend replied, her cheeks tinged with pink. Among those reactions, Bakugo sat at his desk, an eruption of emotions storming inside him. He tightened his hands, his jaw tight with a combination of rage, relief, and shock. Anger because Izuku had somehow acquired a powerful quirk and dared to look down on him. Relief because, despite everything, Izuku had survived his deadly blast a few days earlier. He was shocked by Izuku's new appearance and manner, which was a far cry from the shy, quirkless Deku he had always known. As Izuku sat down, Katsuki couldn't contain his thoughts any longer. He leaned forward, his voice low but intense. "Katsuki, you think you're hot shit now, Deku? Just because you finally got a quirk?" Izuku's gaze flickered to Katsuki, his eyes were cold mixed with determination. "Izuku, I'm not here to prove anything to you, Kachan," he replied evenly. "I've always aimed to be a hero. And now, I have the power to make it happen." Katsuki gritted his teeth and tightened his hands even further. His mind was in confusion, so he did not answer immediately. Meanwhile, conversations kept going around them. Some students supported Izuku's courage, while others exchanged uncomfortable gazes, unsure how to react to the unexpected shift in status within the classroom. "Did you see how serious he was?" whispered a girl with wide eyes. "Yeah, I've never seen him like this before," her friend replied, blushing slightly. "He looks so different now." A boy across the room leaned over to his friend, his voice barely audible. "Do you think his quirk is really that powerful? He didn't even tell us what it is." "Who cares what it is?" another boy muttered. "I just know I don't want to be on his bad side anymore." The bell rang, which indicated the beginning of class. The pig began his lecture, but the atmosphere remained tense. A few hours later, finally, the bell which indicates the start of break rang, and students began to leave the classroom. Izuku moved slowly, his face wearing an expression of cold determination. He wasn't interested in stupid discussions or answering questions about his quirk. He had more important things to think about. Katsuki, however, had different plans. He observed Izuku out of the corner of his eye, his emotions angry. Unable to hold back any longer, he followed Izuku out into the corridor, his steps heavy with intent. "Katsuki. Deku." His voice was an aggressive bark that broke through the noise of students in the hallway. Izuku stopped but didn't turn around immediately. When he finally did, his green eyes were cold, devoid of the usual warmth they once held. "Izuku. What do you want, catch on?" he asked, his voice icy. Katsuki closed the distance between them in a few quick steps. He grabbed Izuku's collar and pulled him near without warning. "Katsuki. What the hell is your quirk, Deku?" he demanded, his voice a low growl. "You think you can just show up with some fancy new power and act all high and mighty?" Izuku's expression remained neutral. In one rapid, smooth action, he grabbed Katsuki by the throat and threw him against the wall with such force that several students gasped. The steely expression in Izuku's eyes deepened as he leaned in, his grip tightening. "Izuku. Why do you care, Katsuki?" His voice was a dangerous whisper, dripping with menace. "Why do you care about what quirk I have now? Does it bother you that the useless Deku you tried to kill is standing here, stronger than ever?" Katsuki's eyes widened in shock, a flicker of fear flashing across his face. He struggled against Izuku's grip, but the strength behind it was unyielding. "Katsuki. You bastard," he choked out, his voice strained. Izuku's grip tightened even further, his face a mask of cold fury. "Izuku. You're the one who tried to kill me and ran away, remember?" he continued, his voice cold and furious. "Why should I tell you anything? You never cared about me before. Why start now?" The hallway had become deathly silent, with students frozen in place as they watched the argument occur. The sheer intensity of Izuku's words and actions left them speechless, wondering if he was telling the truth or not. Katsuki's mind raced, and his emotions were a wild maelstrom. The rage and frustration he felt were countered by an unexpected sense of regret. Despite his evident confidence, he couldn't argue Izuku's comments. He had treated Izuku with hatred for years, never acknowledging his worth. And now, faced with this new, powerful Izuku, he wasn't sure how to respond. Izuku finally let go, allowing Katsuki to breathe and collapse against the wall. He stepped back, his expression darkening even more. "Izuku. Stay out of my way, Katsuki," he said coldly. "I'm not the same person you used to know. I've changed, and I won't let anyone stop me from becoming a hero." Katsuki coughed, rubbing his throat as he glared up at Izuku. The hallway buzzed with whispers as the students processed what they had just witnessed. Some were in awe of Izuku's strength, while others felt a newfound respect for him. Izuku goes to his usual place calmly eating, ignoring their whispers. At lunchtime, a group of girls approached his desk. Their giggles and questioning looks indicated that they were attracted by his change. "Hey, Midoriya," one of the girls said, twirling a strand of hair around her finger. "We were just wondering, what's it like to suddenly have a quirk?" Izuku looked up from his notebook, his expression still guarded. "Ishiku. It's different," he said simply. The girl pressed on, her eyes sparkling with interest. "Can you show us what it does?" Izuku shook his head. "Izuku. Not right now. It's complicated. Another girl chimed in, her cheeks slightly flushed. You know, you look cool now. Like a real hero. Izuku. Thanks, he said dryly before he returned to his notes. The last bell rang, announcing the end of another school day. Students began to gather their belongings and talked energetically about their weekend plans. Izuku packed his bag in quietly, his thoughts already set on exploring another dungeon. The hallway was alive with the normal post-class activity as students flowed out of classrooms, eager to begin their holiday. As the classroom emptied, a girl with blue hair approached Izuku. Her name was Akari, and she had been his first crush in elementary school. However, she had turned into one of his bullies once they reached middle school, joining in with the others who mocked and belittled him. Akari. Hey, Izuku, she called out. Her voice was unusually sweet, causing a few heads to turn in curiosity. Can we talk for a minute? Izuku looked up, his eyes narrowing slightly as he recognized her. Izuku. What do you want, Akari? He asked bitterly. Akari shifted nervously, twirling a strand of hair around her finger. Akari. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry for how I treated you before. And, I was wondering if you'd like to go out with me this weekend. Maybe we could start over. Izuku's expression remained cold, his eyes hardening as he looked at her. Izuku. Get lost, Akari. Akari's face flushed with anger and embarrassment. Akari. You think you're so great now because you have a quirk. You're still just a useless Deku. The words struck a nerve, and Izuku's eyes flashed with anger. He took a step closer to the girl, his presence suddenly intimidating. Izuku. What did you say? He asked in a cold tone, his voice low and menacing. Akari shivered in fear, her bravado crumbling under Izuku's intense gaze. She stuttered. Izuku. And nothing. I didn't say anything. Izuku's lips curled into a slight, humorless smile. Izuku. That's what I thought. He turned and went away, leaving Akari there, scared. The few remaining students in the classroom stood in shocked silence, as some fainted from his imposing presence. After leaving school, he returns to his apartment and cleans it before cooking dinner. Then he finished his schoolwork and went back to bed. As he was about to sleep he remembered something, so he leaned back while rubbing his eyes. Izuku. Inventory. The blue screen appears, revealing his swords and goods. He noticed that another random box was waiting to be opened. Izuku. Random box. A black box with a golden string wrapped in the center sat on his lap. He picks it up. Izuku. Open. The golden lights engulfed his hand, leaving only a steel key. Dungeon key. Item class C. Item rank uncommon. Type key. Description. A key that allows you to create a dungeon. You may use this in the XX** location *XX. Izuku couldn't shake the uneasy feeling as he continued planning his solo expedition. The stakes were high, and the unknown loomed large in his mind. Yet, he was determined. Izuku. 2 hours and 42 minutes by car, he muttered, burying his face in his hands. I can do that. Tomorrow is the weekend. I'll take a bus. Get there in 3 hours. Do the dungeon and make it back. He shook his head, starting to sketch out a plan. This would be a C-class dungeon though, can I solo it? He tapped his chin softly before shrugging. One way to find out, he mumbled as he continued to refine his plan. Once he made a plan, he got some sleep, knowing he would need it for his trip. The next morning, he did his daily quest, muttering to himself. Izuku. I'd rather not want a penalty quest. Wonder what kind of punishment I have to face. Once he finished, Izuku dressed up in cargo pants, and his t-shirt with a t-shirt written on it. On top of that his favorite green jacket with hood. Making his way towards the bus station, he collected his ticket and waited for the bus to arrive. Scrolling through the news feed while he waited, he wondered aloud. Izuku. What kind of monsters will I face inside this new dungeon? And why the heck is it sending me 250 kilometers from home? He grumbled as he boarded the bus when it finally pulled in. After 3 hours in the countryside, Izuku checked his phone. Izuku. 12 p.m. Okay, that's good. I can get through this quickly, he said to himself. Looking around, He saw the abandoned factory and raised an eyebrow. Why here of all places? He wondered as he jumped the gate, landing smoothly on the other side, without realizing he was being followed. Finding the entrance to the tall, incomplete building, Izuku pulled out his key and opened the gate. A large blue portal sparked to life. Just as he was about to enter, someone snatched him. What the? Izuku broke out of his grip and jumped into the portal. Whoever had grabbed him jumped after him. As they all fell through the portal into a dark cave, Izuku caught a glimpse of the men. Izuku, why are you following me? He asked, staring at the adults who were now grinning. A fire lit up the cavern, revealing the men more clearly. All 6 of them stared down at Izuku, failing to notice they were now underground. Izuku glanced back at the portal, still open. Izuku. That's interesting, he thought, turning his attention back to the men who had tried to jump him. This is our territory, the head guy grinned. We already chased off the workers, so what are you doing here? Izuku's attention was diverted by a sound, like something was coming their way, a lot of somethings. Izuku. Look, right now, if you want to get out of here, we have to work together, or we are all going to die, he stated. The men finally looked around, seeing they were underground, with different caves branching off in various directions. They turned to see the portal still glowing in the dark. What the hell, man? What's your quirk? A smoking guy asked while their leader pulled Izuku to his feet. Izuku sighed. Izuku. This is my quirk, but now we can work together to get out of here. You can use your quirks all out. No one will get in trouble. He smiled innocently, but internally he knew something was fishy, watching some of them relax. Let's just win and leave. He looked up. Fire guy, blast the hole above us. The fire guy didn't hesitate. Flames erupted from his fingers before he pulled them to his mouth and shot what smelled like gasoline upward, making his mouth a flamethrower. The other guys used their quirks to kill the bugs left over. Izuku watched, impressed, as the criminal crew worked well together, freely using their quirks to the max. Izuku. We might just make it, he murmured, feeling a flicker of hope amid the chaos. He couldn't help but watch their quirks while letting them do the work as he saw a bug monster start crawling closer to him. Izuku. Disgusting, he kicked the insect, leaving only the legs stuck on the floor. The leader created a shield, drawing the insect to him with a yell. They have amazing teamwork, but I guess that makes sense if they are a close-knit group, he observed, killing a few bug monsters here and there. Over here, the shield turned red as another guy, Hiroshi, created blades and sliced through bug after bug. It took some time, but eventually, every insect was killed. All 8 guys were left panting but grinning. Izuku. Seemed like they had fun, he thought about the bugs. 8 legs, with human teeth. Creepy. They're larger than human legs. Gross. He picked up half of one of the bodies. Hiroshi. That was kinda fun to go all out without being called a villain, he laughed, wiping sweat from his brow. Akihiko. Agreed, man. I feel like a kid in a candy store, the leader, Akihiko, said, looking at the monsters, dead bodies. One by one, they all turned to face Izuku. Izuku. We aren't done. My quirk is like a video game. I get to these places and must kill monsters and then the boss before I leave. Luckily, I had you guys here to help out. He walked forward. Of course, you can leave through the portal if you want to get out now. He pointed backward at the open portal. Hiroshi. You said boss, so there's a bigger insect somewhere in here. He spoke up while following him deeper into the caves. Akihiko. Oh my god, he muttered, staring at thick webs creating an entrance. Some insects they saw earlier were wrapped tightly in threads. The boys stared back at Izuku, who just shrugged. Izuku. It's the boss room probably. So, we should be quiet just in case it's not active, he said, walking ahead of the guys. After a few more minutes of walking, they came across a room filled with glittering treasure. He blinked owlishly at them. The station dungeon didn't have anything like this. Wow, this is amazing. One of the guys, Yuta, exclaimed, kneeling down to pick up a handful of gold coins. Kenji. Yeah, this is incredible, he added, marveling at a chest overflowing with jewels. Akihiko. If I had to guess, these could fetch over 30 million yen. What do you think, Greenie? He turned to Izuku. Izuku. I couldn't tell you, this is the first time I've seen it myself. He walked over and inspected the treasure. This must be the real treasure of this dungeon. Akihiko. We're splitting it evenly, he smiled. There is more than enough, but we need to take care of the boss. Where is it? Izuku. Once you kill the boss, we only have a certain amount of time before the dungeon is closed. He looked upwards and frowned. Also, found the boss. He pointed up. One by one, everyone looked upwards to see 8 eyes staring down at them. Izuku. I hate spiders, he muttered to himself as a giant spider lay in wait, surrounded by webs. Kenji went to scream, but Ryo, the fire guy, covered his mouth. Ryo. It looks asleep. Akihiko. Thankfully, he stepped backward. And this seems like the best chance to move the treasure. Izuku. I don't have the equipment to get anything, he shrugged, not really sure what these guys were thinking, but he had a good idea. Akihiko. Our buddy can create any tool he wants, but he seems to run off after seeing the spider. I don't blame him, your quirk is creepy. He laughed before turning to his group. We will get him, so wait here and make sure the boss doesn't wake up. Akihiko smiled too nicely for Izuku, but he relented and just nodded. Luckily for Izuku, the treasure gave off some light, so as Ryo went with the group, he wasn't left in the dark. Izuku closed his eyes and listened carefully. Akihiko. Ryo, there was a pregnant pause as he spoke again. Block the boss room's entrance. His voice traveled far enough for Izuku's sense to pick it up. Izuku. Greedy, he turned his attention to the giant spider as the explosion made the entrance cave in. Izuku felt a power spike in the room as he looked up, seeing the spider begin to move. He just stared up at the spider as it landed on the floor. Its mouth opened as it roared. Arachner the Devourer. Izuku. Didn't know spiders could do that, he hummed. All 8 of its eyes were crimson red with rows of teeth in its mouth. Looks like it's just you and me now, he said quietly to himself, preparing for the fight. He took a deep breath and activated the skill Kaioken. Instantly Izuku felt a surge of power coursing through his veins. His muscles bulged, and his senses sharpened. The world seemed to slow down around him as his stats doubled, enhancing his strength, speed, agility, and endurance. The spider hissed, sensing the change in its opponent. It lunged at Izuku, its massive fangs dripping with venom. Izuku dodged to the side with blinding speed, feeling the air whoosh past him as the spider missed its mark. He countered with a swift strike using Venonazara Fang, aiming for one of the spider's legs. The blade cut deep, and the spider screeched in pain, its limb twitching as the venom and bleeding effects took hold. Venonazara Blade. Item rank Uncommon. Item class C. Type Dagger. Damage plus 2/5. A dagger made from Venonazara Fang. Able to paralyze due to leftover venom. Grants bleed effect. Can be equipped, stored, or sold. Effect. Paralyze. Attacked foes have a chance to become unable to move. Bleed. Attacked foes lose 1% of their health every 1 second. Effect. Bleed has activated. Izuku. Not so tough now, are you? He taunted, his voice steady despite the adrenaline pumping through his system. The spider reared back, its eyes glowing with malice. It spun webs at a furious pace, trying to ensnare Izuku in a sticky trap. But Izuku was faster. He activated Sprint before deactivating Kaioken, for obvious reasons, his movements becoming a blur as he darted around the room, slashing at the spider's legs whenever he saw an opening. Izuku. Come on, you oversized bug, he muttered, his eyes never leaving the spider. Let's see what you're really made of. The spider lashed out again, this time using its remaining legs to swipe at Izuku. He dodged and weaved, his agility allowing him to avoid the deadly strikes. With each dodge, he retaliated with precise cuts, weakening the spider further. Just as Izuku thought he had the upper hand, the spider did something unexpected. It reared up and spat a glob of venom directly at him. Caught off guard, Izuku barely managed to shield his face with his arm, the venom burning through his sleeve and searing his skin. Izuku. Arg. He hissed in pain, stumbling backward. The spider saw its chance and lunged again, but he was ready. Ignoring the pain, he channeled all his strength into one final, powerful strike. Kaioken, he roared, the power surging through him once more. He leapt into the air, the dagger gleaming in the dim light. With a mighty swing, he drove the dagger deep into the spider's head, piercing through its exoskeleton and into its brain. Effect. Paralysis has activated. The spider let out a final, ear-piercing screech before collapsing to the ground, its legs twitching in death throes. Izuku landed beside it, breathing heavily, his body aching from the strain of Kaioken and the venom's burn, but he knew something was not right. Izuku. But why don't I level up? Don't tell me. A sudden chill ran down his spine. He realized the fight wasn't over. The spider's body convulsed violently, and it let out a gurgling screech as dark, ominous energy enveloped it. The creature's wounds began to close, and its eyes glowed even brighter. Izuku. You've got to be kidding me, he muttered, feeling the strain of Kaioken still weighing on his body. Does this thing have a second form? The spider, now larger and more menacing, shed its damaged exoskeleton, revealing a new, darker shell underneath. It reared up, its legs cracking the ground beneath it, and let out an earth-shaking roar. The treasure around the room seemed to react to the spider's transformation, pulsing with a sinister light. Izuku gripped Venonazura Fang tighter, feeling the weapon hum with power. Izuku. All right, round 2, he said, steeling himself for the renewed battle. The spider lunged forward with blinding speed, its massive fangs aimed directly at Izuku. He dodged to the side, but the creature anticipated his move, slashing at him with one of its front legs. Izuku barely managed to block the attack with his dagger, the force sending him skidding backward. Izuku. Can't let it get the upper hand, he thought, activating sprint to close the distance. He darted around the spider, slashing at its legs with Venonazura Fang, hoping to weaken its mobility. The blade's effects were doing their job, paralyzing the spider's limbs and causing it to bleed, but the creature's newfound resilience made it a tough opponent. As Izuku slashed at the spider's legs, he noticed something different about its new form. Dark veins pulsed with energy across its body, converging at a central point on its back. Izuku. That must be its weak spot, he realized, formulating a plan. He needed to create an opening to strike that weak point. To do that, he had to disable more of the spider's legs. Focusing on his attacks, Izuku used Kaioken to double his strength and speed once more, feeling the immense power surge through him. Each strike of Venonazura Fang was precise and powerful, severing one of the spider's legs. The spider screeched in pain, losing balance as it tried to compensate for its missing limb. Seizing the opportunity, Izuku leapt onto the spider's back, aiming for the pulsating weak spot. But the spider wasn't done yet. It thrashed wildly, trying to throw Izuku off. One of its legs managed to catch him, sending him flying into the cave wall. Izuku groaned, feeling the impact reverberate through his body. He struggled to his feet, blood trickling down his forehead. Izuku. Gotta finish this, he muttered, his vision blurry but his determination unwavering. The spider, sensing its prey was weakened, lunged again. But this time, Izuku was ready. As the spider closed in, he activated Kaioken to its maximum, pushing his body to the limit. The world slowed down around him, his senses heightened to the extreme. He dodged the spider's attack with lightning speed, maneuvering under its body and driving Risaka's fang deep into its underbelly. The blade pierced through the thick exoskeleton, and the spider let out a deafening scream. Izuku twisted the dagger, causing the venom to spread rapidly through the creature's body, amplifying the bleed effect. The spider staggered, its movements becoming sluggish. Izuku pulled the dagger out and, with a burst of energy, leapt onto its back once more. He drove Risaka's fang into the weak spot with all his might, feeling the blade sink deep into the pulsing vein. The spider convulsed violently, its death throes shaking the entire cave. Black ichor spewed from its wounds, and its eyes dimmed. Izuku stood on the spider's back, breathing heavily, his body trembling from the exertion. He felt the effects of Kaioken wear off, his muscles screaming in protest. Just as he thought the fight was over, the spider let out a guttural roar, its body surging with dark energy one last time. Izuku. Just how strong is this thing? He muttered, realizing the spider still had some fight left. He knew he needed something more powerful to finish it off for good. Fortunately, at times like this the system is always on his side. New skill unlocked. Kamehameha. Kamehameha. Skill type energy attack. Description. The Kamehameha is an energy attack that channels the user's mana into a concentrated beam of immense power. Known for its destructive force and versatility, the Kamehameha is one of the most iconic and formidable skill in existence. History. The Kamehameha was developed by a great martial artist and is passed down via strict training and discipline. It represents mastery of one's energy and shows the wielder's will and strength. Abilities. Concentrated energy beam. The Kamehameha releases a powerful beam of mana, capable of causing massive damage to targets and structures. The intensity and size of the beam can be adjusted based on the user's mana reserve. Range and versatility. The technique can be fired as a focused beam for pinpoint attacks or as a wide burst to hit multiple targets. It can also be charged for a more powerful blast or quickly fired for rapid attacks. Usage. Charge. The user gathers mana in their hands, concentrating it into a dense, glowing sphere. The charging time can vary based on the desired power level and the user's proficiency. Release. With a shout of Kamehameha, the user thrusts their hands forward, releasing the stored energy in a powerful beam directed at the target. Stats boost. Damage output. Variable, based on charge time and user control. Range. Long. Area of effect. Adjustable, from a focused beam to a wide burst. Mana consumption. High, proportional to charge and intensity. Warning. Mastering the Kamehameha requires extensive training and at least 100% of the user's mana. Overuse or incorrect carrying out can cause massive mana drain and fatigue. Izuku. Kamehameha, he whispered to himself, the name of the skill echoing in his mind. He hadn't tried, but there was no time like the present. He then checked his HP and MP, which were low. HP. 1000 2520ths. MP. 105 375ths. Fatigue. 80. Remaining points. 13. The spider, rejuvenated by the dark energy, lunged at Izuku with a newfound fury. Its crimson eyes locked onto him, venom dripping from its massive fangs. Izuku took a deep breath, focusing all his remaining energy on the technique. He brought his hands together at his side, feeling a surge of power gathering between his palms. Izuku. Ka, me, ha, me. He chanted, and the energy ball became bigger and more strong. The spider was almost upon him, but he stayed strong, waiting for the right moment. As the spider went towards him, preparing to attack, he threw his palms forward, unleashing all of his energy in a blue blinding beam of pure power. Ha! The Kamehameha wave shot forth, illuminating the entire cave with its brilliant blue light. The energy beam collided with the spider, engulfing it in an explosion of raw power. The force of the blast sent shockwaves through the cave, causing rocks and debris to rain down from the ceiling. The spider let out a final, ear-piercing scream as the Kamehameha wave tore through its body, disintegrating it from the inside out. The dark force that had once powered the beast vanished, leaving only the lifeless remains of a terrifying enemy. When the light finally faded, Izuku stood in the aftermath, panting heavily. His body ached, and he felt the toll of using such a powerful technique for the first time. But he knew it was worth it. The spider was defeated, and the dungeon's threat was finally neutralized. The dungeon boss has been slain. Izuku breathes out calmly while walking away from the dead boss, not before accepting status recovery from daily quest. You leveled up. You leveled up. You leveled up. Izuku. Thankfully, I did not take the daily request reward. Who knows what might have happened? He goes back to the beast, wondering. He stabs underneath the boss's head to see what is within. He discovers a unique kind of crystal. Maybe I could sell these. They are one of a kind. He rubs his cheek, causing more blood on himself. He leans against the chest as the entrance explodes from outside. Oh, I forgot these *** holes. He thought before checking his stats. Status. Name. Izuku Midoriya. Level. 21. Class. None. Alias. None. HP. 2650 2650ths. MP. 400 400ths. Strength. 51. Vitality. 31. Agility. 31. Intelligence. 31. Sense. 31. Skills. Passive. Muscularity. 2. Active. Sprint. 2. Kaioken. Max. Kamehameha. Max. Fatigue. 0. Remaining points. 16. The 8 men Izuku had been inside walked into the cave, their eyes widening at the sight of the dead boss and the boy they had tried to kill waiting for them. Ryo. What, this guy is still alive. He spoke up first. Akihiko. Is the boss dead? He said, his voice sharp with disbelief. The group muttered among themselves. All. What happened? Hiroshi. Did he kill it by himself? Ryo. Was that spider just a big stupid bug? Akihiko. It seems I underestimated you, Greenie. He chuckled as he observed Izuku, who stood without a weapon. Kenji. What do we do now, sir? He asked his leader. Akihiko. We kill him, he smirked. No hard feelings, Greenie, but we get paid for this, and as a bonus, we are going to take this treasure. Izuku lowered his head slightly. Izuku. Someone wants to kill me. He kept back his smirk and raised his head with an empty expression. So you are all contract killers. The group grinned at Izuku's question. Each had their own tool or weapon ready. The leader had a shield at the ready. Izuku. What a quirk to waste on someone like you, he thought before a notification popped up. An emergency quest has been issued. Emergency quest. Kill the enemies. There are entities nearby that intend to murder the player. Slay them and ensure your safety. If this quest is not completed, a penalty will be issued as a result. Enemies required to be killed. 6. Enemies killed. 0. Izuku's eyes went wide, reading each message 3 times. Izuku. What is this? He felt his body fill with dread. The quirk suddenly. His thought was cut off by the flame quirk user attack that hit him square in the chest. Quest info. Emergency quest. Kill the enemies. There are entities nearby that intend to murder the player, slay them, and ensure your safety. If this quest is not completed, your heart will stop. Enemies required to be killed. 6. Enemies killed. 0. He was blasted backward to the opposite side of the boss room. Akihiko. Let's pick up the treasure and get out of here. If this place closes, we might be trapped. He spoke as Izuku lay spread on the broken rocks, his green eyes empty. Izuku. Why? His mind shut down before kickstarting. Why did I forget that? This world focuses on the survival of the fittest more than anything else. His hand clenched around the damaged rocks surrounding him. My thinking was wrong until now. He thought back to getting his ass kicked every day for 7 years. Every day, I walked into and out of school covered in burns and scars. No one ever helped. He slowly sat up. I mistook these dungeons as a safe place. He looked at the quest. Enemy. He didn't feel dread anymore. My quirk is forcing me to kill. If this quest is not completed, your heart will stop. Izuku. Kill if you don't want to be killed. He felt some blood rolling down his face from his forehead. Isn't it weird if I died? This is not a stroke of luck or goodness. He crushed the rock in his hand. This is what my quirk needs. HP. 1332,650ths. Izuku. My quirk isn't going to make me strong. Izuku looked at the enemies ahead of him. Hiroshi. Huh, this guy is still alive. Izuku. It wanted me to be strong. He leaned forward from the throne of broken rock. It's great that it's clear, he stated coldly. The quirk uses me, and I use the quirk. As he stood up, the men became too busy to notice the darkness radiating around him. Yuta. Ryo, has your skill gotten worse? He joked. Kenji. How embarrassing. He should be able to kill anyone with just one shot. Akihiko. Ryo, you should have done it seriously. He leaned against his friend. Ryo. I guess so. He chuckled, but inside he was freaking out slightly. I definitely put my all at the strike. Was my aim wrong? Izuku went forward, his hair covering his eyes and putting a shadow on his face. Izuku. You played around with a person's life, so are you ready to face the consequences? He asked coldly while advancing towards the 6 men. What is that bastard saying? One of them said smugly with his arms crossed. Hiroshi. I'll take care of him, boss. He walked over, throwing his arm around Izuku's shoulder. It looks like you don't understand this situation very well, pal. The villain smirked, lowering himself to see Izuku's face. You are in big trouble. Izuku. I think there's been some confusion. He speaks softly but loud enough to be heard by everyone. I am not the one in trouble here. Akihiko. What? He spoke as a shiver was run by everyone when they heard his next line. Izuku. There were only 6 of you. He stated emotionlessly, as his right hand glowed blue. You need more than that. Before anyone could say anything, he flicked his wrist forward, spraying blood across the floor in front of him. Hiroshi. Ah, only this came from the villain whose throat was just slit as his head rolled on the ground. Izuku's dagger had blood across the tip of the blade. Izuku. 1, he counted off. Enemies required to be killed. 5. Enemies killed. 1. Kenji. Hiroshi. Yuta. That bastard, when did he? The gang screamed as Izuku walked forward, dagger at his side and pointing downward. Akihiko. Where did he get the knife? Izuku gripped the handle tighter. Izuku. I ended up killing a person, blood kept rolling off his chin and over his shoulder and neck. A human, although I can say that the quirk orders me, it doesn't change the fact that I killed someone. He looked down at the dead man next to his feet. If I don't kill, I will be killed. I can't run away anymore. He pointed the tip of the blade toward the group. Only the strong will survive. Izuku's entire life had been sheltered in his home. He would break from the slightest touch. Katsuki and his friends tried their best to break his body and spirit. Katsuki broke his body, but he got back up. All Might was the one that broke his spirit, yet he was still standing. He was almost killed by Katsuki, yet here he was. Inside his head, his old self had died in an explosion 2 weeks ago. He was no longer a weakling to be messed with. His eyes burned blue as he glared coldly at the enemies before him. Akihiko. I don't know what he just did, but don't let your guard down. He attempted to remain strong, but the bunch of criminals could see the shadows behind Izuku. Ryo. Give him one more blow, he ordered as Ryo created a big fire in his hand and charged. Izuku was in the blast's path for a second, then vanished in a blur. Izuku. Your quirk is annoying. Ryo's eyes widened as he stared into cold blue eyes before feeling 20 different cuts across his body. Then his world went dark. The others watched as their longtime friend had been ripped into pieces and blood spread over the room. That bastard. 2 opponents attacked Izuku by leaping at him. Izuku avoided the first one as his blade destroyed the floor. The man felt an icy chill run down his side after seeing Izuku's blue hoodie and feeling Izuku's blade sink into his spine. The second attacker attempted a side attack. Nonetheless, Izuku simply turned the attack and stabbed the villain in the stomach while gripping his arm. As the man began coughing up blood, he smirked slightly. Izuku turned his attention to the second last one, dashing forward, dodging his attacks while slicing his skin. Kenji. My body isn't moving. Yuta. Is it his quirk? I thought this place was his quirk. That son of AB*TCH. The 3 who yelled collapsed and were bleeding. Effect. Bleed has activated. Effect. Paralysis has activated. Effect. Paralysis has activated. Each one screamed before Izuku killed them one by one. Akihiko. In a flash all our members. The lonely leader yelled. You bastard, you were hiding your skills. Izuku. You saw the boss I killed. He walked closer, only stopping a few feet away. I told you you need more than that. Enemies required to be killed. 1. Enemies killed. 5. Akihiko. I didn't expect all my friends to be defeated. He glared harder at the green-haired man. A red aura surrounded him and his shield turned red. I will kill you, and take their revenge. He charged forward, intent on killing Izuku, only to freeze up as a hand was in front of his face. Izuku. Akihiko, you're fierce and strong, he stated in a cold and icy tone. But there's one thing you don't know. His hand grabbed the man's face before slamming his head backward into the floor, making a shockwave of broken rock fly. I'm always leveling up. Akihiko looks up at cold blue eyes, remembering the beautiful green eyes when they first met. He felt horror in his heart when he began coughing. Akihiko. What just happened? He was left laid out on the floor. Did he just slam me to the ground? He looks up at the shadows that hide Izuku's face. Only the cold blue glow of his eyes was visible. Izuku's dagger is at his side, waiting for the final kill. Izuku. Before I murder you, tell me who ordered you to kill me. He said coldly. Akihiko. Wait. Do not kill me. He sits on his knees. Spare me. I will give you money. You can have all the gold and anything else. The man begs. Izuku. 3 times. He moves his head to the other side. Are you asking for mercy from someone you tried to kill 3 times? His blood was still spilling on his forehead and running down his face to his neck. Akihiko. Stop it, he screamed, desperation ringing in his voice. Do you think you will get away with this? Izuku's face hardened, and he spoke in an icy voice. Izuku. No one will know what happened here. It's my quirk, after all. Akihiko. You bastard. His voice echoed in the dungeon, but Izuku didn't need to hear another word. In a swift, precise movement, the dungeon fell silent as his head rolled away from his body. Blood slowly poured from the severed neck and head, the body slumping over. Izuku calmly wiped the blood from his knife and put it back into his inventory. Izuku. My clothes are a mess again, he thought, looking down at his dirty, blood-stained jacket. It was covered in burn marks and blood, and with his body growing, it no longer fit properly. I guess I will need to buy new clothes. Izuku surveyed the room one last time. He took some gold, before stepping over the bodies and making his way out. The entire dungeon started to shake and crumble around him. Izuku. The dungeon is closing. Time to leave, he thought, following the route back to the portal. As he stepped through the portal just as it shut and disappeared behind him, a notification flashed before his eyes. Quest reward. Emergency quest. Kill the enemy's completion conditions have all been met. Will you receive the reward? Accept or refuse? Izuku selected. Accept, without hesitation. Quest rewards. Choose your rewards. Reward number 1. Status recovery. Reward number 2. Experience points plus 10. Reward number 3. Skill. Bloodlust. Will you accept your rewards? Accept or refuse? Izuku accepted the rewards, and another notification popped up. Bloodlust. Level 1. Cost 100 mana. Description. Using strong energy, the selected target is put in a state of fear for 1 minute. Abilities. Several targets can be selected. Affect fear. All stats minus 50%. Izuku felt a sudden surge of power as the new skill fused with his system. He went out of the structure, his footsteps echoing across the empty area. The cool evening air clashed sharply with the dungeon's gloomy aura. He took a deep breath and felt the cold breeze fill his lungs. Izuku. Home, he thought. Time to go home. As Izuku took the bus through the station, the streets were rather quiet. His thoughts went to the events of the day, the battles fought, and the lives lost. He felt exhausted and thrilled. As he was sitting, a group of teenagers eyed his bloody and tattered appearance with a mix of curiosity and fear. One of them, a girl with pink skin, couldn't help but ask. Hey, are you okay? Do you need help? Izuku glanced at her, his expression unreadable. Izuku. I'm fine, he replied tersely, closing the conversation. The group exchanged worried glances but didn't pursue further. When he finally reached his home, he stripped off his ruined jacket and threw it into the trash, then headed straight to the bathroom. Standing under the hot spray of the shower, Izuku let the water wash away the blood and grime. He watched as the red-tinged water swirled down the drain, feeling the tension slowly leave his body. After drying off, he changed into fresh clothes and collapsed onto his bed. He focused on a new skill, bloodlust. He could feel it, a dark, powerful energy simmering just beneath the surface. He knew it would be a valuable asset in future battles. Izuku. One more step towards my goal, he thought, closing his eyes. Despite everything, a small smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. He lay there in the quiet of his room, thoughts drifting as sleep began to claim him. The world outside continued, unaware of the events that had transpired, and for now, that was just the way Izuku wanted it. It had been 4 months since the fateful day Izuku acquired his quirk, Ready Player One. The dungeon incident in which the mercenaries attempted to kill him tortured his thoughts, as did the mystery of their boss. He did some dungeons and rose his level to 35. At school, his classmates noticed the change and maintained their distance. Katsuki had now been surpassed in class by his former target. Izuku's grades got to the top of the class, annoying Bakugo. Despite this, Bakugo and the others avoided direct confrontation with Izuku, fearing the new aura of power that surrounded him. The teachers observed the change in characteristics but decided not to step in, hoping that the tension would resolve properly. Izuku sat in his classroom, his eyes focused on the textbook in front of him. He could feel the stares of his classmates, their curiosity and fear palpable in the air. He had become an enigma, his sudden rise in grades and physical prowess a mystery to all. The bell rang, signaling the end of the period. As Izuku gathered his books, he overheard a group of students whispering. "Did you hear? Midoriya aced the last test again. He's even surpassing Bakugo now. Yeah, and without even using his quirk. If he is strong without his quirk, I wonder how strong he will be with quirk." Izuku paid them no attention. He had more important things to think about, like figuring out who hired the mercenaries who tried to kill him. The class headed to the gym for the day's fitness test. Izuku sensed the usual tension in the air as they lined up for the various tests. Bakugo was already there, with his burning glare fixed on Izuku. "All right, listen up." The gym teacher's voice boomed through the gym. "Today we'll be testing your physical abilities. No quirks allowed except one-on-one. I want to see your raw strength and endurance." The tests began, and each student took their turn. Izuku walked through each station with ease, his training and self-control visible at every step. He ran the sprint in record time, crushed the push-ups, and broke the long jump record. Bakugo watched, his frustration growing with each of Izuku's successes. By the time they reached the final test, his patience had worn thin. The final test was a one-on-one combat drill. The students gathered around the mat, their excitement building. This was the moment they had been waiting for. "Midoriya, Bakugo, you're up," the gym teacher called. "Katsuki, you think you can keep hiding your quirk from me, Deku?" Bakugo sneered, his hands crackling with explosive energy. "I'm going to make you spill it, and then I'll show you who's the top dog around here." Izuku remained silent, his expression unreadable. His emerald eyes narrowed slightly as he made a bring it gesture which made Bakugo angrier. As students gathered for their one-on-one combat rounds, there was visible tension in the air. Izuku and Bakugo stood opposite each other, with the rest of the class remaining at the side, eager to witness their fight. The instructor raised his hand. "All right, Midoriya, Bakugo, you know the rules. No lethal force. Begin." Bakugo wasted no time, launching himself at Izuku with an explosive speed. "Katsuki, I'll crush you, Deku." His hands sparked with explosions as he rushed towards his childhood friend. Izuku, however, remained calm. As Bakugo approached, he sidestepped with ease, his actions measured and accurate. Bakugo's punch missed by an inch, and Izuku responded with a quick, devastating punch to Bakugo's stomach. The impact was instant. Bakugo's eyes widened in surprise as he was lifted off his feet and crashed into the wall behind him, making a loud boom. The impact cracked the wall, resulting in a spider web pattern. Bakugo sank to the floor, gasping for oxygen and showing disbelief. The room fell silent, the only sound being Bakugo's labored breathing. Izuku stood in the center, his posture relaxed but his eyes hard as steel. "Izuku, you wanted to know my quirk, Katsuki. It's called hard work, something you should try sometime." Bakugo struggled to his feet, his legs trembling. "Katsuki. This isn't over, Deku. I'll find out what you're hiding." Izuku turned away, uninterested in continuing the exchange. "Izuku. Believe what you want, Katsuki. Just remember, no matter how much you rage and scream, it won't change the fact that I beat you fair and square." Bakugo lay on the mat, his breath coming in ragged gasps. His mind raced, trying to process what had just happened. He had always been the strongest, the best. How could Deku, the quirkless loser, have beaten him so easily? Izuku turned away, leaving Bakugo to his thoughts. As he walked off the mat, the gym teacher approached him. "Impressive, Midoriya, he said. You've shown incredible improvement. Izuku. Thank you, sir, he replied with zero emotion. Bakugo struggled to his feet, his eyes burning with a mix of anger and humiliation. Katsuki. This isn't over, Deku, he growled. I'll find out what your quirk is, and I'll prove that I'm still the best. Izuku glanced back at him, his expression unreadable. Izuku. Good luck with that, he said before walking away. After leaving the school he was on his daily run when he felt someone's eyes on him. He was in the middle of the woods. No one should be out here but him. He kept up his pace. Izuku. I have 6 months till UA. I haven't been back in a dungeon. He rolled his neck and slowed down when he reached the middle of a field. The presence of someone strong was still there. He slowly stretched out, keeping his eyes on the tree line. Someone's out there. Okay. This looks like a good spot. He pulled out a wooden key. He held it out and opened a large portal. Let's see if he follows. He walked inside, disappearing from the assassin's sight. The assassin jumped from his perch, walking towards the portal. A ghost of a smile appeared on his face. Is he a warper? He waited outside the gate for a while before finally letting his curiosity get the best of him. He walked through the gate and into a dark cave. Now, this is why everyone's scent disappeared at the factory site. This makes sense now. He followed the cave to an open area with dead bodies all around, except these were goblins. This is seriously cool. The assassin lowered himself, looking at the dead goblins. He saw the light down the middle cave. He walked down the line, still staying invisible. He stopped in the middle of an area, seeing Izuku waiting for him. Izuku. Why are you following me? He was staring at the assassin. Can he see me? The assassin moved left, and Izuku's green eyes followed each step. Izuku. Okay, fine. I know you have been following me for a few weeks now. Why? His blade was behind his back, hidden from the assassin's view. It's not invisibility, he thought. It's like he's trying to erase his presence. Man, you're interesting. A calm tone sounded off before the man showed himself. He was in a black suit while spinning a knife in his hands. His lips turned up slightly into a small grin. I tracked you all the way down from the factory. Both men stood across from each other. So, where are we? The man in the suit asked, looking around. Izuku. This is not good. He thought while checking his appearance. I know him. Judging by his clothes he is a former apprentice of Stain Maki. I have to be careful. He thought before speaking. We are in a creation of my quirk, he answered since he felt one of them was not leaving today. It's a goblin dungeon. Typically, they are easy, and low strength. Still, if you get surrounded, you can die easily, he pointed at the mangled bodies. Now, why have you tracked me all the way here? Maki. Someone hired me to find someone you might have killed. Izuku felt uncomfortable a bit. Oh, relax, I'm not a hero. Just a paid murderer. So murderer to murderer, what happened? Izuku. It was in self-defense, he answered lowly. They tried to kill me since they were hired by someone. 3 times they tried. Maki. So interesting. Too bad I got paid to kill you by the same person. I think we would have gotten along well. He pulled a second knife from his back. My schedule fell apart as soon as you made this portal. You know curiosity got the best of me. Izuku. Well, you know what they say. Both pulled their blades up as they lowered themselves, ready to fight. Curiosity killed the cat. Maki. Satisfaction brought it back. He darted forward, throwing one of his blades at Izuku, making him dodge before he came down with a strike. Izuku blocked the attack with his blade before gripping his wrist and throwing him across the cave. Wow, pretty fast. He looked at Izuku who was looking with a lack of interest, holding his dagger in front of him. What kind of strength are you hiding? Izuku moved forward, thrusting the blade into Maki's stomach, but stopped as Maki began to split into 2 people. The one in front of Izuku disappeared. Maki. Damn, you're fast, kid. Izuku. Not fast enough apparently. He glared to the side before attacking again. The blades met with a loud clang as the metal of the blades met. Maki. Now, here's a question. Why are you hiding your strength? I have seen you punch that blonde. I know for a fact that you could tear him apart. he said as his eyes widened and his grin got more extensive. Why not terrify him? He took the first knife he tossed and dual-wielded them. Let me teach you something that I had to learn from experience. Izuku, since we are asking questions, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to kill me? He questioned, watching Maki's movements, and his eyes started blue as he stared at Masao's psychotic grin. Like this, Maki. Oh, that's a scary face you have, Midoriya. Lighten up, it's not like I'm doing this for fun. The person you killed in your last little dungeon had an older brother and his boss paid me enough. Now I cannot just refuse the poor man, he explained teasingly. Silence fell over the dungeon as the two men waited to attack. The assassin moved first, faster than previously, but Izuku countered Maki's dagger with his own. They glared at each other, as their daggers sent sparks flying to the side. Maki. It's pitiful that you will die alongside these goblins. He pushed against the Izuku's dagger. Izuku. Then, you're damn pitiful as well, he growled darkly. Maki. What? He said as he was still in the air and his blade clashed with Izuku's. Izuku. Because you will die soon. They both kicked off each other before attacking each other faster as time went on. Maki. Who would have thought I would meet someone my level? He laughed psychotically. Izuku. Our speed is about the same. I need to end this fast, he thought as they bounced off the walls of the cave, trying to get an angle on each other. Izuku's footing slipped some, and Maki used it as an opportunity to attack. Izuku felt every slice and cut Maki inflicted on him as he crossed his arms to protect his vitals. Izuku slid backward before panting. Maki. You're pretty durable, He frowned slightly, seeing his target still standing. Izuku. Sorry, but can you lower your killing intent, please? He had a hand on his thigh as he was staring at the floor. Quest info. Emergency quest. Kill the enemy. There is an entity nearby that intends to kill you, slay him, and ensure your safety. If this quest is not completed, your heart will stop. Enemies required to be killed. 1. Enemies killed. 0. Izuku. My quirk is sensitive to killing intent. He lifted his head as Maki saw a darker blue burn from the boy's eyes. It activated on its own again. Maki. Allow me to show you something fun. He used his quirk and seemed to vanish like before. Izuku was quickly on guard as he listened and watched. He pulled his blade up, protecting his left side as the daggers met again. Maki. You blocked the attack despite me using my quirk. He laughed freely. Your sense is pretty great. He laughed more. My quirk is stealth. I erase my shape, smell, sound, and even aura. Only I have this quirk. That being said, no one else knows that I have this quirk because no one has ever survived after seeing it. He said as a blade went through Izuku's ankle heel, forcing him to kneel. The tendons in your feet are destroyed, he said as he reappeared in front of Izuku. It would heal quickly if you were immediately healed, but typical healing quirks would never work over long periods. He started to disappear again. Can you even withstand my attacks with that frail body of yours? You won't be able to reach the speeds you used to have, at least. How many minutes until your wounds heal? Your leg. Izuku. You, he interrupted, still kneeling, talk too much. Status recovery, his body lit up with green and golden lights. His wounds were stitched back together, leaving only tears in his clothes. Maki. He healed instantly. He stared with wide eyes. What the hell is his quirk? Izuku. Relying on your quirk alone definitely has its limitations. I gotta think of a solution. He scolded himself. Maki. A trick, the villain watched from above. Or perhaps fake confidence. He moved. He's dangerous. Izuku looked upwards, feeling his heart steel itself. Izuku. Again, one of my emotions died. Even anger itself is a waste on the likes of you. He thought as Maki attacked from behind, ready to kill him. Izuku simply swiped backward, forcing Maki to step back, so he didn't get hit. Maki. He saw through my stealth again. The villain jumped backward from his target. There's no hesitation when you aim for my neck. You are a killer like me. He was pissed off, having wasted so much time on this one target. I'm done playing with you, Midoriya, therefore I'm unleashing my full power. The assassin sprinted forward, each step getting faster as he vanished. Attack after attack, Izuku deflected the blades until Masao was in front of him, and he rushed forward, ready to end the fight. Izuku's head was down, his green hair blocking his eyesight. "Maki. I'm finishing this here," he stated while rushing forward. Izuku. "Me too," he stated while lifting his head, activating his skill. Skill. Kaioken activated. The raw strength of Kaioken went through Izuku's body, increasing his muscles and turning his aura bright red. The cave walls appeared to pulse with the energy he was emitting, casting a crimson shade over the combat area. Maki changed his stance as he sensed the sudden change in deadly force. His normal confidence faded, replaced by an instant of fear and dread. Izuku's speed increased exponentially, his form becoming a blur of motion. He dashed forward, his blade striking with precision and ferocity. Maki barely managed to deflect the attacks, each clash sending shockwaves through the cave. The air was filled with the sound of metal hitting metal, scattered by grunts of exhaustion and the slightest scream of pain from a certain killer. Effect. Paralysis has activated. Effect. Bleed has activated. Maki. Poison, he said as tried to move but couldn't. "I see, it's your dagger." He glares at Izuku, who looks like a demon in a red aura. The enemy's resistance was too high. The effect was cancelled. Izuku. "Not bad," he states while panting from exhaustion. When Maki noticed Izuku panting, he tried to use his stealth to disappear from sight. But Izuku's heightened senses, boosted by Kaioken, detected small variations in the air, even the slightest sound of a step. He spun around just in time to deflect a dagger aimed at his back before reacting with a strong kick that sent Maki crashing. "Izuku. I'm not done yet," he growled, his voice echoing through the cave. His red aura flared brighter, intensifying the power coursing through his veins. Maki, despite his agility and stealth, struggled to keep up with Izuku's continuous attacks. He vanished again, but Izuku predicted his next move and caught him in mid-attack with a bone-crushing blow. Maki gasped, his wind knocked out as he came crashing against the cave wall. Desperation flickered in Maki's eyes as he tried to recover, his body battered and bruised. "Maki. You're a monster," he gasped, blood dripping from his mouth. "But let's see how you handle this." Summoning the last of his strength, he lunged at Izuku, his daggers aimed for the kill. Izuku looked up straight into Maki's eyes, his eyes burning ice blue, and shadows overtook his body. Skill. Bloodlust activated. Maki froze in place. Looking down, he saw he was covered in what appeared to be a large pond of darkness. "Maki. What is T?" He looked back up only to come face to face with a monster with white eyes. What is this?" The shadows surrounded Maki, intent on choking the life out of him as two blue eyes stared into his eyes. He felt his senses overwhelmed by a single horrifying wound in his chest. He glances down to see a blue blade being pushed through his skin and into his chest. "Maki. Why, you how?" He spits blood and stares over at Izuku, shadows embrace his shoulders. He noticed the blue in those eyes becoming darker. The shadows soon vanished, leaving only him and Izuku. He was sitting against the wall, with Izuku's dagger stuck to his chest. "I'll die because I lost. It's only natural." Blood spills from his chest wound and mouth. Izuku looks down as he stands over his killer. "Izuku. I have one last question," he said while sitting. "Who is behind this?" The assassin's eyes glittered with a strange amusement. "Maki. A message must be delivered, even if it comes through the edge of a blade." He choked on his own blood. "But for one who seeks the light, the truth is hidden in plain sight." As soon as the last word leaves his mouth, he vomits blood. URK. Effect. Paralysis has activated. Effect. Bleed has activated. Izuku's mind raced as he tried to decipher the riddle. The truth is hidden in plain sight. What could that mean? He thought back to his recent encounters, trying to piece together the puzzle. And then it hit him. "Izuku. The principal of my school," he whispered, his eyes widening in realization. It made sense. Izuku remembered the principal's cold eyes behind his warm smile and the way he had often turned a blind eye to the bullying that he suffered. And now, due to his quirk, it seemed he saw Izuku as a threat, perhaps fearing exposure of past neglect or worse. The assassin's eyes flashed with a mixture of surprise and approval. Maki. Clever, boy, he said. But knowing the truth won't save you. Izuku's jaw tightened. Izuku. We'll see about that, he said. The assassin laughed again, but there was a hint of resignation in his voice. Maki. You have no idea what you're getting into, he said weakly. But you will get stronger. Izuku. How strong do you think? Maki. Your shadow is connected to darkness, he said as his head fell forward again, losing his strength. You will become as strong as your shadows, depth in the dark. Exclamation mark. Alarm. Quest complete. You have completed emergency quest. Kill the enemies. Exclamation mark. Alarm. Skill. Bloodlust has leveled up. Izuku sighs, ignoring the warnings for the time being. For the portal to close, he had to kill the boss. Ripping the blade from Maki's chest, he goes to the cave on the left. At the end, he saw wooden doors where boss room was located. After killing the boss, Izuku walks out of the portal just as it becomes hard and disintegrates. He sits down in the grass where he begins the dungeon before lying down just as the menu pops up. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. Exclamation mark. Alarm. The player has reached the required level. Izuku. Required level, he thought while reading. Exclamation mark. Quest alert. A class evolution quest has arrived. Exclamation mark. Quest alert. Will you accept the quest? Accept or refuse. Izuku. A class evolution. He wonders before recalling his status sheet. Status. Name. Izuku Midoriya. Level. 40. Class. None. Alias. None. HP. 7,500 7,500ths. MP. 650 650ths. Strength. 95. Vitality. 60. Agility. 95. Intelligence. 53. Sense. 80. Skills. Passive. Muscularity. 2. Active. Bloodlust. 2. Sprint. 2. Kaioken. Max. Kamehameha. Max. Fatigue. 0. Remaining points. 1. Izuku. I'll deal with that rat principal later. He thought while lying on the grass. Tomorrow is the weekend, so I should prepare for this dungeon since this is an S-rank dungeon. He thought as looking at the key. Demon Castle's key. Item class S. Item rank legendary. Type key. A key that allows you to enter the dungeon. Demon Castle. You may use this in the XX** location **XX. The next day Izuku did his daily routine and went to the location. He examines the key in his hand before gazing up at the abandoned tower. His black pants and jacket probably made him appear like a delinquent or something. He sighed and looked about. Nobody was near the tower or inside it. Izuku. That's good, I suppose. But why the hell did my quirk always choose a location like this? He thought before shrugging. Whatever. Izuku reached forward, pulled out his key and opened the gate. A large red portal sparked to life and red electricity ignites the tower's entrance with red light. As soon as the portal opens, Izuku walks through while summoning his dagger. He wasn't sure what awaited him on the other side. On the other side, he could see inside the gate and looked around. The entrance was a space in the middle of a destroyed cityscape, with burning buildings and rivers of molten lava forming a terrible atmosphere. Smoke and ash covered the air, creating a creepy, hideous atmosphere. Izuku breathed deeply as he tightly gripped Venonazura's fang. He knew the journey ahead would be dangerous, but he was prepared. Because of his keen senses, he detected the presence of several creatures lurking in the shadows of the city ruins. Izuku. Let's dance, he whispered to himself, smirking slightly, clutching Venonazura's fang tightly. His dagger flashed dangerously in the blazing light. He took a deep breath and went into the inferno. The air was heavy with heat and a smell of sulfur. Izuku advanced slowly, his senses on high alert. His sensing skill revealed several dangerous presences hiding in the shadows. He didn't have long to wait until the first wave of minions struck. From the flaming debris came a pack of hellhounds, their eyes flashing red and their bodies engulfed in flames. They scowled and roared, lunging at him with terrible assault. "Izuku. Time to put you down," he said, activating sprint. His speed grew immensely, allowing him to easily avoid the Hellhound's attacks. He used quick, accurate motions to strike with his dagger, each slash providing the paralyze and bleed effects. The Hellhounds shrieked and collapsed, unable to move as their lifeblood drained. One Hellhound attempted to catch him off guard, clawing at his leg with its burning claws. But Izuku was quick to react with a strong slice that split the creature's head. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You have slain a Hellhound. You have slain a Hellhound. You have slain a Hellhound. As the last Hellhound fell, he took a break to catch his breath and examine the loot. He discovered several minor health potions and a piece of enchanted armor that provided some fire resistance. He sold the items from his inventory and earned 10,000 gold coins from the Hellhound's loot. Izuku. Only the beginning, he thought while scanning the flaming landscape ahead. Izuku went through the city, encountering more terrifying enemies. The next obstacle came in the form of demonic archers positioned on shattered buildings. Their arrows, filled with hellfire, were bombarded with down on him as he crossed the dangerous streets. He activated Bloodlust, generating fear in the archers. Several of them froze in panic, and their stats were drastically reduced. He used sprint to cross the gap between them, leaping from rubble to rubble. He took them down one by one, his dagger sparkling in the light of the fire. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You have slain a demonic archer. 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 Izuku obtained numerous enchanted arrows from the demonic archers' bodies, as well as a special potion that temporarily increased his mana regeneration. He sold the stuff except the potion from his inventory, earning an additional 5,000 gold coins. An infernal golem rose from the lava, causing the ground to shake further into the city. This massive beast formed of molten rock and lava stood over Izuku. Its eyes blazed with dangerous intelligence as it walked towards him, every step shaking the ground. Izuku. This one's going to be tough, he whispered. He ignited Kaioken and felt a surge of power that doubled his strength, speed, and agility. The pressure was immense, but he knew he had to deal with it. The golem swung a big fist at Izuku, but he avoided it with increased speed. He stabbed at the golem's joints, his blade barely piercing the creature's stone shell. The bleed effect proved useless against a stone and fire beast, but the paralyze effect limited its movement. Effect. Paralysis has activated. Izuku saw an opening and released a Kamehameha, sending a beam of powerful energy into the golem's chest. The impact left a crater in its torso, and the beast screamed in pain before falling back. The golem reacted with a swing of its arm, knocking Izuku into a burning structure. He clamped his teeth and stood up, feeling the impact of Kaioken on his body. He couldn't keep doing this for long. HP. 6,000 7,500. MP. 400 650. Fatigue. 70. With a final burst of speed, Izuku charged toward the golem, aiming for the weak point in its chest. He drove his dagger deep into the crater, putting a small of his mana into the strike. The golem gave a deafening roar before disintegrating into a pile of rubble and molten rock. You have slain an infernal golem. You have received 1,000,000 gold. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You leveled up. You leveled up. You leveled up. Izuku found a large mana potion and a rare enchanted amulet among the infernal golem's remnants, which enhanced his overall attack power. He kept the potion in his inventory and sold everything in 5,000 gold coins, pleased with the large amount of loot. Then he drinks the potion and restores his HP and MP. HP. 8,000 8,000. MP. 700 700. Fatigue. 80. Moving deeper into the city, Izuku came across a group of Inferno Knights. These armored warriors, their bodies covered in dark steel and covered in flame, were an overwhelming mission. Each wielded a massive blade, which sparkled with the heat of their infernal power. Izuku. More company, he mumbled, activating both sprint and bloodlust. The wave of fear swept through every part of the Inferno Knights, creating hesitation and confusion. He took advantage of their temporary distraction by dashing in with his dagger. His strikes were swift and accurate, aiming for the joints and holes in the knight's armor. The paralyzing effect impeded their movements, and the bleeding effect damaged them even more. Despite their intimidating look, they fell one by one to his ongoing attack. You have slain an Inferno Knight. 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 Several armor components were recovered from the defeated Inferno Knights. He sells the stuff from his inventory for 8,000 gold. Izuku's journey across the destroyed city had been difficult, but he knew the worst was about to come. As he approached the city center, the air became cooler, a strange chill piercing through the heat of the fires. This was the lair of the S-rank beast, the guardian of the city. The dragon lay wrapped, its scales glowing. As Izuku approached, the creature's eyes opened and a low growl came from its throat. Velcroth. The Infernal. The name was in blood red, which was fitting. The dragon's bright red eyes meet Izuku's burning blue look as they face off. Without further hesitation, he immediately launched himself forward with sprint, his speed increasing dramatically as he closed the distance between him and the dragon. The mana consumption was low, but the boost in speed was important. He needed every advantage he could get. He reached the dragon in an instant and cut its tough scales with Venonazara's fang. The blade certainly did not leave a scratch. It rushed around and swiped at him with a huge claw. Izuku leapt back just in time, feeling the rush of air from the dragon's powerful strike. Izuku. So strong, he thought, gritting his teeth. I have to be faster. He activated Kaioken, feeling the surge of energy flood his body. His muscles bulged, his senses sharpened, and his power doubled. The strain on his body was immense, but the boost was worth it. With newfound strength, he dashed forward again, aiming for the dragon's underbelly. His blade cut cleanly, but Velcroth's skin was like titanium. The venom and bleeding effects of Venonazara's fang did not work as expected. The dragon was extremely durable. It gave out a roar and responded with an eruption of flames. Izuku rolled to the side, just escaping the burning flames. He could feel the heat mark his clothes, but he didn't let it stop him. He gathered more mana and launched the Kamehameha. A dazzling ray of energy emitted from his palms aimed squarely at the dragon's chest. The impact was huge, knocking the dragon back a few steps, but it recovered quickly. The dragon's scales shined with the heat of the blast, yet it remained unharmed. Izuku. This isn't working, he realized. I need to find a weakness. Velcroth jumped forward and opened its jaws. Izuku avoided, but the dragon's tail spun around, striking him in the side and knocking him into the building wall. Pain ran through his body, yet he forced himself to stand. HP. 3,000 8,000ths. MP. 200 700ths. Fatigue. 60. Izuku. I can't give up now, he told himself. I have to keep fighting. He reactivated sprint, using the speed to keep one step ahead of the dragon's strikes. He slashed the dragon's joints, underbelly, and wings, but its skin was invincible. The huge beast appeared to be unfazed by his dagger's paralysis and bleeding effects. Velcroth roared again, and the temperature in the chamber rose drastically. The dragon's mouth blazed an orange-crimson, unleashing a torrent of flames that enveloped the cavern. Izuku dashed out of the way, feeling the heat singe his clothes and burn his skin. He narrowly avoided the worst of it, but the sheer power of the attack left him stunned. Izuku. This dragon's fire is more powerful than anything I've ever seen, he thought. I have to be smarter, and use every skill I have. He activated Bloodlust, but Velcroth dismissed the fear's effect. Unfazed Izuku charged in, aiming for the dragon's eyes. He dodged Velcroth's huge claw and rushed up, stabbing at the creature's face. His blade hit against the dragon's eye, drawing blood and causing Velcroth to howl in pain and fury. The dragon raged wildly, throwing Izuku around and slamming him into the ground. He gritted his teeth and forced himself to stand, despite the pain coursing through his body. Velcroth charged at him, and Izuku just rolled out of his way. Izuku. I can't keep this up much longer, he thought while checking the status sheet. I need to finish this, now. HP. 2,000 8,000ths. MP. 200 700ths. Fatigue. 60. He activated Kaioken again, pushing his body to its highest level. The pressure was enormous, yet the power rush gave him the strength he needed. He rushed forward, dodging Velcroft's hits at lightning-fast pace. He sliced at the dragon's legs, aiming for the joints and trying to cripple the beast. But Velcroft's skin was too tough. The dragon roared and released another torrent of flames, forcing Izuku to run away. He used sprint to keep his distance and avoid the dragon's continuous strikes. Velcroft the Infernal uses a skill, Blast Burn. Velcroft punches the ground with such force that the entire ground turns into molten lava, sending molten debris toward Izuku, who is unable to avoid it. The debris struck him, sending him crashing across the chamber. He collided with the wall, and pain rushed through his right arm. He looked down and discovered, to his horror, that his limb was gone. Izuku! Gah! He screamed, holding the point where his arm once was. Blood flowed from the wound, and he felt dizzy. HP 688 thousandths. He was bleeding rapidly. HP 475 8 thousandths. Izuku grits his teeth while his HP is decreasing. HP 308 8 thousandths. Exclamation mark. Alarm. As your health is below 30% skill, perseverance will activate. Damage taken will be reduced by 50%. Izuku's eyes follow the message as he reads it. His jacket is bloodied, and he attempts to remain calm. Izuku. Even in terrible circumstances, it will do everything in its power to keep me alive. It would be problematic for me to die, he thought with a slight chuckle. Activate status recovery. A warm, healing energy rushed through him, and he watched in awe as his arm began to restore. The pain ended, and fatigue dissolved into determination. Izuku. All right, you overgrown lizard, let's dance. He taunted. Velcroft roared, its eyes burning with rage. The dragon leapt at him, but Izuku was prepared. He activated Kaioken again and felt the same rush of strength. He dodged the dragon's claws and stabbed its eyes, temporarily blinding it. Velcroft screamed in pain, and Izuku took advantage of the opportunity. He gathered some mana and unleashed a massive Kamehameha, aiming straight at the dragon's chest. The beam of energy went forward and impacted Velcroft with incredible force. The impact was enough to crack the dragon's scales, and Velcroft let forth a thunderous roar of pain. Izuku refused to give up, pushing all of his effort into the onslaught. Finally, with one last furious push, the beam pierced the dragon's defenses. The massive beast crashed backward, its chest burning from the strike. Velcroft's eyes burned with stubborn rage. The dragon's skin was scratched and burned, but it appeared more angry than weak. Izuku realized he needed a different plan. Pure force would not be enough to destroy such a powerful beast. Velcroft roared, unleashing another torrent of fire. Izuku sprinted to the side, narrowly escaping the inferno. He activated Kaioken once again, feeling the pressure on his body but knowing he needed more power. He ran forward, striking at the dragon's legs and underbelly, but his blade barely scratched its tough scales. Izuku. I need to find a weak spot, he thought, his mind racing. He looked at the dragon's body for any signs of weakness. Then he noticed it. A small, lightly glowing area on Velcroft's chest, where his previous attack had cracked the scales. That's it, he realized. I need to hit that spot with everything I've got. Velcroft lunged at him, jaws biting. Izuku dodged and rushed around the dragon, attempting to position himself for a direct attack at its weakest place. The dragon's tail spun around, and he barely managed to jump over it before rolling to his feet and accelerating himself forward. With an eruption of energy, he activated Kaioken to its full potential. The strain was painful, but he ignored it. He had to finish this right now. He gathered all of his remaining mana and charged a Kamehameha. Izuku. Take this, he shouted, releasing the beam of energy directly at the glowing spot on Velcroft's chest. The beam struck accurately, hitting the weak place with incredible force. Velcroft roared in pain as the impact destroyed the damaged scales. The dragon stumbled backward, its steps getting slower. Izuku didn't give up. He sprinted forward with sprint, closing the gap and slicing the exposed flesh with Venonazara's fang. The dagger's venom eventually took hold, and the dragon's movements slowed even further. Blood flowed from the wound, but Velcroft was far from defeated. Velcroft roared again, fire blazing the corners of its mouth. The dragon was preparing for another devastating strike, and Izuku knew he needed to act quickly. He activated Sprint again and charged forward, dodging the dragon's strikes with quick movements. He approached the dragon's chest and inserted Venonazara's fang into the open wound. Velcroth roared in pain as the blade sank deep. Izuku twisted the dagger and felt the venom enter the dragon's flesh. The beast's motions became slower, and its roars more pathetic. But Velcroth wasn't finished yet. With one last desperate attempt, the dragon tried to unleash a huge burst of fire. But Izuku was faster. He channeled all of his remaining strength and mana into one final Kamehameha. Izuku. Die. The energy beam shot from his palms at point-blank range, striking the dragon's wound with devastating force. The combined power of the attack and the venom from the dagger eventually penetrated Velcroth's defenses. The dragon gave one last, miserable roar before collapsing to the ground, its body motionless. Izuku fell to his knees, exhausted and in pain, but victorious. He had done it. He had defeated Velcroth, the Infernal. Exclamation mark. Alarm. You have slain Velcroth, the Infernal. You leveled up. 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 Izuku sweats while kneeling and staring at the fallen dragon. Izuku. I won. A little smile appears on his face. His whole body shuddered as he stood up. That was very close. He was more powerful than me in every way, he said before a blue screen popped up. New skill unlocked. Blast Burn. Blast Burn. Skill type Fire skill. Description. Blast Burn is a destructive fire-based attack that focuses the user's mana into a massive explosion of inferno. By striking the earth with enormous power, the user causes a gigantic blast that incinerates everything in the near area. Damage output. Extremely high, capable of incinerating enemies within the blast radius. Range. Large area of effect, with lingering flames that continue to burn. Area of effect. Wide, capable of hitting multiple targets simultaneously. Mana consumption. 200. Izuku. An elemental skill. This is awesome. You have received 2 million gold. Izuku. They double the gold in an instant, he said in excitement while checking the total amount he had. Total gold. 10,123,546.00. System alert. You have completed the necessary quests to unlock classes. Analyzing feats and achievements. It took you 5 hours 45 minutes and 20 seconds hours to clear this dungeon. The quest is now ended. Izuku. Finally, he exclaimed as he drank some potions. You will be able to choose a class based on the total amount of points you have obtained. Izuku. Since I use a dagger, it's clear that I should choose Assassin, he thought while relaxing. A class will be granted after the player's actions have been analyzed. Izuku. Granted. I am not allowed to choose. He groans softly. I put all of my points in strength and agility. I'll probably be a warrior because of my strength or an assassin because of my agility. His thoughts were racing as he analyzed himself. Or perhaps a tank is possible given my powerful vitality stats. It will be one of those three. He nods in agreement with his choice. Either way, I'll get stronger. Analyzing subject. Izuku Midoriya. Brave warrior who faced Hell's Gate. Conqueror of Velcroth, sealing its fate. With speed and strength, you do amaze. A hero born to fight with blaze. Izuku watches carefully as the rhythmic analysis creates an artwork of his actions and potential. Your blade strikes true with venom's bite. Yet you seek more in the endless fight. Your spirit is strong, your mind so keen. Two paths now form where none have been. Izuku's eyes widened as he read the messages. Izuku. 2 classes. A shadow in the night, swift and sly. Eyes that see through any lie. Master of stealth, of blades, of sight. The path of the ninja you ignite. Izuku's eyes widened in disbelief. Izuku. A ninja. I knew that my stealth and agility were good, but as a ninja, so cool. He thought with stars on his eyes, while the system continued. Yet darkness too within you lies. With power to match the heavens, cries. Devil hunter, fierce and bold. Wielding might both new and old. As soon as system wrote these words, Izuku was engulfed in bright blue light. Izuku. What the? 2 paths converge within your soul. Ninja's stealth and hunter's goal. With eyes that see and power unbound. Your destiny, hero, is now profound. Exclamation mark. Alarm. Your class is Ninja Devil Hunter. As Izuku unlocked classes, a dazzling blue light enveloped him. He felt a tremendous rush of power coursing through his body as if every cell was being infused with incredible power. The light became even brighter, covering him in its softness and beauty. When the light faded, Izuku looked down at the red crystal and gasped as he saw himself. His appearance had changed drastically. His once green hair had turned a stunning snow white, and his left eye now glowed crystal blue, while his right eye remained its former green color. Izuku took a moment to process his transformation. He felt stronger, more powerful, and more in control of his skills than ever before. The combination of his ninja and devil hunter abilities had unlocked a new level of potential within him. Then he checks his class as well as new skills. Class: Ninja Devil Hunter. Class bonus: Ninja Passive. Stealth Mastery. Improved ability to move hidden and silent. Better senses. Sharpened senses, including sight, hearing, and touch. Advanced Dagger Arts. Daggers can now be used more effectively. When a dagger is used, attacks with it deal 33% more damage. Wall Tree Climbing. Allows the user to run up and cling to wall tree surfaces by channeling mana to their feet. Water Walking. Enables the user to walk on water by distributing mana evenly across the soles of their feet. Devil Hunter Passive. Devil Endurance. Increased resistance to physical and magical damage. Enhanced Strength. Greater physical power. Fast regeneration. Faster recovery from injuries. Sword Mastery. Improves sword skill, allowing you to use more agile and powerful combat techniques. Gun Mastery. Grants the ability to handle firearms effectively and shoot fast and accurately. Ninja Active. I Sharingan One Tomo. Skill Type I Skill. Description: the One Tomo Sharingan is the first step of the legendary I skills. This early form gives the user improved keen abilities and a small amount of fighting improvement. While not as powerful as its advanced versions, the One Tomo Sharingan represents the start of the user's path to mastering this terrifying skill. While the One Tomo Sharingan has many advantages, it is only the beginning of the Sharingan's full potential. Continuous use and emotional development are necessary to progress the Sharingan to its more advanced stages, which offer increased power and abilities. Enhanced Perception. The One Tomo Sharingan improves the user's vision sharpness, allowing them to see and react to movements faster. This heightened eyesight is especially effective for avoiding attacks and observing enemy actions. Partial Copy Technique. At this stage, the user can start copying basic movements and techniques they see. While not as exact as the higher levels, this talent enables fast learning and adjusting in a fight. Basic Genjutsu Knowledge. The One Tomo Sharingan improves the user's immunity to basic genjutsu illusion techniques, allowing them to recognize and destroy simple illusions. Skill Boost. 1 Perception. Plus 200% visual clarity and detail detection. 2 Copy Success Rate. 50% for basic techniques. 3 Genjutsu Resistance. Plus 50% effectiveness in recognizing and breaking simple illusions. 4 Combat Prediction. Plus 10% evasion and reaction time boost. 5 Mana Cost. No mana required. Elemental Jutsus. Grants the ability to perform powerful elemental techniques using mana. Fire Style. Great Fireball Jutsu. Cost: 20 mana. Water Style. Water Dragon Jutsu. Cost: 30 mana. Earth Style. Earth Wall Jutsu. Cost: 10 mana. Wind Style. Gale Palm. Cost: 20 mana. Lightning Style. Chidori. Cost: 40 mana. Devil Hunter Active. Currently locked. Even though he felt slight disappointment on the lock part, but he couldn't control his excitement. He began bouncing on the balls of his feet. Izuku. This is so cool. He cried, his voice full of delight. He clenched his fists, feeling the power flowing through him. As he was about to test his skill, a familiar screen popped up. Based on the amount of points you once obtained, you will be given a chance to obtain an alias as well as 2 exclusive skills. You surpassed the planned playtime. Points will be added. Final health is above 50%. Points will be added. All enemies have been slain. Points have been added. The shadows loomed behind Izuku as he read the messages. He turns around to face the massive wall of shadows surrounding him. He expected them to attack him, but they stopped before around him. To the one who wields both light and dark, a gift of shadows, a powerful mark. Unleash the power within your soul, and let the shadows make you whole. Izuku found peace in the shadows while staring at the message. You have obtained alias, Shadow Monarch. Izuku, Shadow Monarch, he said as shadows poured into his skin as he felt lighter. You have gained new exclusive skills. Izuku's interest reached its highest point. He looked up the skill descriptions. Shadow Extraction. Skill type, Shadow Skill. Description. A shadow soldier is created from a body without life by taking its mana. The chance of failure increases the higher the target's stats are and the more time has passed since the target's death. Shadows able to be extracted. 0/10. Save Shadow. Skill type, Shadow Skill. Description. You absorb created shadow soldiers and save them. Saved soldiers can be summoned and reabsorbed whenever and wherever the animator desires. Saved shadows. 0/10. Will you accept the skills? Accept or refuse. A chill ran down Izuku's spine. Izuku. This sounds like necromancy, he whispered, a hint of fear in his voice. He had heard stories about necromancers, dark mages with the ability to bring back the dead and control their spirits. It was a power that came with a great price, often leading to madness and corruption. He hesitated. Do I want this power? He asked himself. The system interrupted his thoughts. This is exclusive skills. Do you wish to refuse? Izuku's thoughts raced. The ability to command the dead was great, and it could change the direction of any battle. However, moral problems weighed heavily on him. He took a long breath, trying to slow down his heart. After a moment of thought, he made his decision. Izuku. I accept, he answered, his voice strong even though a state of fear filled him. I'll accept the responsibility if this power can help me protect the weak. Izuku looks around, noticing a shadow coming from the dragon's body. Shadow extraction can be used on this target. Izuku sees the message on the body of the dragon. Izuku. Of course, a necromancer is a commander-type job. Please select your command phrase. For shadow extraction. Izuku. Command phrase. He thought for a split second before his eyes turned blue. Arise. Command phrase set. Arise. Izuku took a deep breath and knelt beside Velcroth's head, placing a hand on its cold, lifeless scales. Izuku. You were a worthy opponent, he said, his voice full of respect. Your power and toughness were unmatched. But now, your power will be used to protect those who need it. He took a long breath before standing to his feet. Rest well, Velcroth. Your spirit will live on. He extended his hand towards the dragon's corpse and activated shadow extraction. Arise. Velcroth's body was enveloped in a dark, swirling energy that oozed through its scales and bones. The chamber became colder, and shadows flickered across the walls. Izuku looked in amazement as the dragon's body began to transform. The transformation was impressive. Velcroth's bright flaming red scales turned shadowy black, absorbing the light and giving the dragon an intimidating, mysterious appearance. Its massive wings, which were originally vibrant ruby, now glowed with a deep, beautiful blue, generating menacing energy that almost illuminated the cave. The dragon's eyes, which had before burned with strong intensity, now shone with an unreal azure, piercing the darkness with their cool, solid glare. The newly made shadow dragon moved from his body and stood before Izuku, its looming body oozing strength and fascination. No rank required. Dragon can be named Izuku. You shall be called Kaizel. Izuku watched as Kaizel gave a low growl in confirmation before bowing his head when he got his name. Kaizel LV. 20. Izuku. Take good care of me, Kai, he said while touching his scales. Then something clicks in his mind as he opens the inventory. Almost forget about you beautiful, he said as take the sword from inventory. Sword of Omen. Item class S. Item rank legendary. Type sword. Durability unbreakable. Description. The Sword of Omen is a legendary blade of amazing power, respected in the past. This weapon, created in the center of a dying star and infused with the Eye of Thundera, combines both power and magic. The sword has multiple forms: a sleek dagger, a balanced sword, and a powerful katana, that retain the blade's mystical properties in each form. History. The Sword of Omen, wielded by the ancient hero who destroyed the darkness, is searched by many but held by only one. Its power is claimed to be connected to the wielder's heart, responding to their will and increasing their resolve to fight. Abilities. 1. Sight beyond sight. When held, the Sword of Omen boosts the wielder's vision, allowing them to see hidden opponents, detect traps, and reveal illusions within a 50-meter radius. 2. Omen's Wrath. Activating this ability unleashes a devastating energy wave, dealing massive AoE damage to enemies within a 10-meter radius and stunning them for 3 seconds. 3. Future Sight. The wielder can activate this ability to glimpse 2 minutes into the future, predicting enemy movements and actions, effectively granting a temporary boost to evasion and critical hit chances by 25% for 10 seconds. 4. Lifeblood. The blade drains a portion of life from enemies with each successful hit, restoring a small amount of health to the wielder. 5. Form Change Mechanism. The wielder can change the form of the Sword of Omen by invoking the command Omen Form Change, followed by the desired form's name, e.g., Omen Form Change, Katana. Cooldown. Form changes have a cooldown period of 10 seconds to prevent rapid switching during combat. Mana cost. Each form change requires 100 mana, ensuring that the wielder uses the ability strategically. Forms. 1. Sword Form. A balanced blade ideal for general combat, offering a mix of speed, power, and reach. Stats. Damage. 150 to 200. Attack speed. 1.2. Critical hit chance. 20%. Special effect. Regenerates wielder's health by 5% of damage dealt. 2. Dagger Form. A sleek, deadly dagger suitable for close quarters combat and swift strikes. Stats. Damage. 100 to 150. Attack speed. 1.8. Critical hit chance. 25%. Special effect. Regenerates wielder's health by 5% of damage dealt. 3. Katana Form. A long, slender blade designed for precision strikes and increased reach, combining elegance with lethality. Stats. Damage. 180 to 220. Attack speed. 1.0. Critical hit chance. 15%. Special effect. Regenerates wielder's health by 7% of damage dealt. Warning. Mastering the various forms of the Sword of Omen requires years of practice and adaptability. Each form has specific advantages and requires a different battle technique, making the wielder versatile and powerful in any combat situation. Izuku. Aside from the Demon Castle key, this is my first time dealing with an S-ranked item. Izuku marvels at the sword and begins with a powerful overhead strike, bringing the sword down in a swift, controlled motion. The blade cut through the stone, aiming directly in front of him as if targeting an opponent. Without pausing, Izuku transitioned into a horizontal slash, sweeping the sword across at chest level. He pivoted on his feet, maintaining balance and control. Next, he executed a series of diagonal strikes, alternating from left to right. Each swing was delivered with purpose, slicing through the stones. After that, he transforms the blade into a katana by saying, Izuku. Omen Form Change, Katana. He started with basic strikes, the blade moving in swift arcs. His form was impeccable, each strike executed with deadly precision. His movements became more complex as he continued, incorporating spins and jumps. He shifted his weight effortlessly, maintaining perfect balance. Izuku spun on his heel in one fluid motion, the katana whistling through the air as he brought it down in a powerful, controlled strike. The force of the blow created a gust of wind, slicing the molten debris. But he didn't stop there. Izuku. Omen Form Change, Dagger. He started with basic slashes and thrusts, the blade moving in swift, controlled arcs. His form was perfect, each strike executed with precision. His movements became more complex as he continued, incorporating spins, flips, and acrobatic maneuvers. He shifted his weight effortlessly, maintaining perfect balance. In one fluid motion, Izuku flipped backward, the dagger flashing in the fire as he brought it down in a powerful, controlled strike. He wants to test more, but the menu screen pops up. You have completed the dungeon. The dungeon will collapse in 2 minutes. Izuku. Let's go, buddy. We have a lot of work to do. he said as put the blade in inventory and climbed up Kai's back, feeling the shadow dragon's strength and power beneath him. Kaisel arose from the earth with a strong flap of his gigantic wings, gliding effortlessly into the air. Izuku gripped hard, excitement and joy flooding over him as they soared. As they exited from the dungeon, emerged into the cool night air. The moon rose high in the sky, sending a silver glow across the area. The stars twinkled above, their light reflecting in the calm waters of the lakes and rivers below. The world was serene under the cover of night. From their position high in the sky, the world below appeared peaceful and beautiful. The scene was spread out in all directions, a jumble of forests, fields, mountains, and city. Izuku looked at the beauty of it all, feeling re-energized and motivated. Izuku, this is amazing, he said as gently patted the dragon. You are amazing. The dragon roared gently in acknowledgement as his mighty wings took them fast into the night. As they traveled home, Izuku thought about everything he had experienced. The battles, the hardships, and the decisions he made. He knew that his quest wasn't complete, but he felt more ready than ever to face whatever lay ahead, and a certain pig had to talk. Status. Name. Izuku Midoriya. Level. 51. Class. Ninja Devil Hunter. Alias. Shadow Monarch. HP. 11,200. MP. 1550. Strength. 140. Vitality. 95. Agility. 120. Intelligence. 73. Sense. 97. Skills. Passive. Save Shadow. Max. Stealth Mastery. 1. Better Senses. 1. Wall Tree Climbing. 1. Water Walking. 1. Advanced Dagger Arts. 1. Gun Mastery. 1. Sword Mastery. 1. Muscularity. 2. Active. Shadow Extraction. Max. Elemental Jutsus. Max. Bloodlust. 2. Sprint. 2. Kaioken. Max. Kamehameha. Max. Blast Burn. Max. Sharingan. 1. Fatigue. 0. Remaining points. 0. On Monday, the morning sun shined brightly as Izuku went through his daily routine and made his way to school. Izuku. I should have tried that years ago, he huffs as he steps into school, headed straight for the office. Many students stare at him and whisper. Izuku was used to it since his first transformation, but his sense stat was higher, so he soon understood what they were saying. Who is that? I have no idea. Is someone transferring in? He's hot. Izuku rolls his eyes while muttering something about B*TCHES and making his way toward the office. As he approached the principal's office, he knew he had to deal with the principal, but he needed to be smart about it. He couldn't allow anger to influence his thinking. He took a deep breath and knocked on the door. Come in, a gruff voice responded. Izuku went in and saw the principal seated behind his desk, who appeared surprised when he saw Izuku. Principal. How may I help you, young man? The principal's forced smile was in complete opposition to his typical tone. Izuku noticed the change and realized the man was already on alert. Izuku. Sir, I'd like to take the final exam early to get out of your hair. I would see it as beneficial for both of us if I had been able to graduate sooner, he said, swallowing dryly. Principale. What's your name again? He inquired, staring at Izuku as if trying to identify him. Izuku. Midoriya Izuku, sir. The principal's jaw dropped. He stared at Izuku, his eyes wide with disbelief. Principale. Midoriya, what the hell? No way that is you. Izuku just looked at him with cold eyes. Izuku. It's me, sir. The principal continued to stare, his mind struggling to reconcile the boy he once knew with the young man standing before him. He noted the one green eye, and the freckles on his cheeks, but there was his cold expression. Principale. Why do you want to take the test early? The principal asked, trying to regain his composure. Izuku. Sir, I believe that it is in both of our best benefits. I want to move forward, and I believe it would be easier for you if I wasn't around. He stated calmly. The pig's eyes narrowed. Principale. And why should I grant this request, Midoriya? What makes you so special? Izuku. Because Katsuki is also taking the exam early. If he can, then why can't I? The principal's attitude changed from doubt to annoyance. Principale. Bakugo is different. He has a powerful quirk. Izuku. So do I, he countered, his voice cold. You can't deny me this opportunity just because of your personal favoritism. The principal was back in his chair, his thoughts racing. He had underestimated Izuku's power and resolve. The boy who he had considered quirkless and weak has grown into a dangerous young man. The principal felt an aura of fear. If Izuku discovers his secrets, it could mean the end of his career or worse. Principale. Midoriya, I don't think you understand the consequences of what you're asking, he said, his voice trailing off quite a bit. Izuku remained calm, his eyes cold. Izuku. Sir, I understand perfectly. I know what you've done, and I understand why you want me gone. I'm giving you an opportunity to make things easier for both of us. The principal's eyes widened. Principale. You don't know anything. Izuku leaned forward, his voice cold. Izuku. I know enough. I know about the murderers you sent. I know your fears that I'll expose you. But I am not here to threaten you. I just want to move on with my life. The principal feels a drop of sweat run down his forehead. He needed to think quickly. If Izuku had evidence, he was in big trouble. But if he agreed to allow Izuku to take the exam early, he could give himself more time to deal with the situation. Principal. Fine, he said finally. You can take the final exam early. But don't let this discussion out. Izuku nodded. Izuku. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Principal. Come here after school. I'll have your test as well diploma ready. Izuku. Thank you, sir. He got up and bowed. I will see you after school, he said as he left the room, softly closing the door before a small smile formed across his lips and he relaxed. Hopefully, this is the last time I move through these doors, he said as he made his way toward his classroom. He knocked on the door softly. Sorry, I am late, he said as he opened the door, and everyone stared at his new look. He walks in and hands the teacher the late pass before taking his seat. He ignored the whispers as he sat down and pulled out a notebook, ready to finish the day. The teacher clears his throat and returns to teaching. After school, Izuku went to the principal's office with two other instructors. They each handed him 2 stacks of papers that made up the final exam. Principal. You have 2 hours, so no cheating, he said as Izuku just nodded. The exam was a little difficult, but Izuku was ready. He answered each question accurately, his mind clear and focused. Either he truly wants him out of school, or he is smarter than he thinks. He finished the test in 25 minutes and checked it before returning it to the principal. The principal hands it along to the teachers, who grade it fast. They maintained an eye on the boy as he saw them fail to make a single mark on the test. Izuku sat calmly and waited. He examines the teachers as they finish and looks at the principal. All. He passed, they said at the same time. Izuku breathes out with relief. Principal. Well, congratulations, Mr. Midoriya. Here you go. He hands him a diploma with the school's seal and his signature. Izuku. It was a pleasure to learn under you, sensei, he said bitterly as he held the diploma tightly. Have a wonderful life, he says as he grabs his things from the floor and finally leaves the pig-stained workplace. After getting home he took a shower and made lunch. When he is done from lunch he notices a familiar blue message. Message. You have unread mail, Izuku. Open mailbox. Message. Unread. Congratulations. You have made outstanding progress on your journey and as a reward, you now have the opportunity to awaken one of your skills. A skill's power increases greatly once awakened. Steps to awaken a skill. 1. Select a skill. Go to your skills menu and choose the skill you wish to awaken. 2. Confirm selection. Ensure you have enough mana points MP. 3. Activate awakening. Click the Awaken Skill button to complete the process. Once awakened, the skill will substantially boost its effectiveness and might unlock additional features. This is a rare opportunity, so select wisely. Make sure you are well prepared, as the awakening process is irreversible. Izuku read the words with a combination of excitement and focus. He saw that awakening a skill was a special and important chance. After considering his options, he reviewed them in the skills menu. 2 skills were available. 1. Kaioken, a power-up skill that could double your stats, enhancing your strength, speed, agility, and endurance for a short period. 2. Kamehameha, a powerful energy attack that could be charged and unleashed in a devastating beam of mana. After significant thought, Izuku decided to awaken the Kamehameha. He believed that the Kamehameha's versatility and raw power would be better suited to his long-range battle style since he is a close-range fighter. With eagerness, he confirmed his decision and began the awakening process. New skill unlocked. Final Kamehameha. When Izuku finished the awakening, he felt an ocean of energy rush through him. His Kamehameha had evolved into the Final Kamehameha, a devastating energy skill with 10 times more strength. Final Kamehameha. Skill type Ultimate Energy Skill. Description: the Final Kamehameha is an awakened version of the Kamehameha skill that represents the highest level of energy control and offensive power. This ultimate move combines the Kamehameha's accuracy and force with increased energy output, producing a destructive blast capable of annihilating even the most powerful opponents. Abilities: 1. Enhanced Energy Beam. The Final Kamehameha unleashes an extremely powerful beam of mana, much more powerful than the normal Kamehameha. The energy output is doubled, resulting in massive damage across a wide area. 2. Overwhelming Force. The sheer force of the Final Kamehameha can penetrate through the toughest defenses and barriers, making it nearly unstoppable once unleashed. 3. Widespread Devastation. The beam can be widened to affect multiple targets simultaneously or focused to deliver a single, annihilating blow to a specific target. Usage: 1. Charge. The user gathers a massive amount of mana in both hands, resulting in 2 glowing spheres. The charge period is greater than the normal Kamehameha, indicating the enhanced power level. 2. Release. With intense focus and a powerful scream, the user combines the 2 spheres into a single, huge beam of energy, releasing it with overwhelming force toward the target. Stats Boost. Damage output: exponentially higher than standard Kamehameha. Range: very long. Area of effect: highly adjustable, from a focused beam to wide area devastation. Mana consumption: 400. Warning: the Final Kamehameha is an ultimate skill requiring an enormous mana preserve. Improper execution or overuse can lead to severe mana depletion, physical exhaustion, and possible injury. Izuku: amazing. I wonder how powerful this skill will be with Kaioken. He thought as a new message arrived. Message: unread. Congratulations. You have unlocked the store feature. The store system provides the player access to a large range of products, such as weapons, potions, daily items, and more. The player can browse and buy products with his gold, and he can exchange them for real-world money. Store categories: 1. Weapons. 2. Potions. 3. Daily items. 4. Currency conversion. Weapons: 1. Pistols Ebony and Ivory. Item Class A. Item Rank Legendary. Type Gun. Durability Unbreakable. Description: Ebony and Ivory are 2 legendary twin handguns. These pistols, designed for balance, accuracy, and quick discharge, are ideal for capable shooters. The dark pistol, Ebony, is built for power and long-range accuracy, whilst the light pistol, Ivory, specializes in speed and close-range battle. History: Ebony and Ivory, created by a great gunsmith, are blessed with ancient power and are legendary to have been wielded by a famous warrior known for his unmatched shooting. Many professionals have handled the guns, adding to their legendary past. Abilities: 1. Rapid Fire. Both pistols are capable of firing bullets at an incredibly fast rate, allowing the user to unleash a barrage of shots in quick succession. 2. High Accuracy. Ebony and Ivory are engineered for precision, with Ebony providing exceptional accuracy at long range and Ivory offering enhanced accuracy in rapid close-range fire. 3. Mana-infused bullets. The pistols can channel the user's mana to enhance the bullets, increasing their damage output and allowing for special effects such as elemental damage or piercing capabilities. 4. Seamless Reload. The design of Ebony and Ivory allows for seamless and swift reloading, minimizing downtime during intense combat situations. 5. Dual-Wield Mastery. The user gains increased proficiency when wielding both pistols simultaneously, with improved coordination, aim, and firing speed. Stats: Damage Ebony, high. Damage Ivory, moderate. Rate of fire. Very high. Accuracy ebony, extremely high, long range. Accuracy ivory, high, close range. Reload speed. Fast. Special effect. Mana-infused bullets enhance damage and can apply special effects. Price. 100,000 gold. 2. Teleportation kunai, warp dagger. A specially crafted dagger that allows the user to teleport to its location upon throwing. Price. 75,000 gold. Description. Infused with spatial magic, this dagger can instantly transport the user to its landing point, perfect for quick escapes or surprise attacks. Cost 50 mana. 3. Broadsword. A versatile and sturdy sword suitable for various combat situations. Price. 50,000 gold. Description. This weapon offers a balance of speed and power, making it a reliable choice for many fighters. 4. Elemental staff. A staff imbued with elemental magic, capable of casting powerful spells. Price. 80,000 gold. Description. This staff allows the wielder to harness the power of the elements, adding versatility to their combat style. Potions. 1. Health potion. Restores a significant amount of health instantly. Price. 500 gold per bottle. Description. A must-have for any adventurer, this potion heals wounds and restores vitality. 2. Mana potion. Replenishes the user's mana, allowing for continued use of spells and abilities. Price. 400 gold per bottle. Description. Essential for users, this potion restores mana quickly. 3. Stamina potion. Boosts the user's stamina, reducing fatigue and increasing endurance. Price. 450 gold per bottle. Description. Ideal for prolonged battles or strenuous activities. 4. Antidote. Cures the user of any poison or harmful status effects. Price. 300 gold per bottle. Description. A lifesaver in many situations, this potion neutralizes toxins and restores the user to full health. Daily items. Locked. Currency conversion. Convert gold into real-world currency. 1. Conversion rate. 1000 dungeon gold equals JPY 1000. 2. Conversion process. Select amount. Choose the amount of dungeon gold or system currency to convert. Confirm conversion. Confirm the transaction to convert your in-system currency to real-world money. Receive funds. The converted amount will be on your hand. Total gold. 10,123,546.00. Izuku moved through the store, fascinated by the variety of products available. After much thought, he chose to buy the pistols Ebony and Ivory and the teleportation kunai warp dagger. Izuku. Since I have passive abilities, these pistols will give me an edge in both close and ranged combat. And the warp dagger, it's perfect for quick escapes and surprise attacks. I'll take both. Purchase confirmation. Items purchased. Pistols Ebony and Ivory 100,000 gold. Teleportation kunai warp dagger 75,000 gold. Izuku. With these new weapons, I feel much more prepared for whatever challenges lie ahead. And the ability to convert in-game currency to real-world money, that's going to be incredibly useful. I can't wait to see what else the store has to offer in the future. Izuku closed the store interface, satisfied with his new acquisitions and excited for the adventures to come. Time skip 5 months. 5 months had passed since Izuku began focusing completely on improving his passive abilities. He had purposefully avoided dungeons, choosing to practice and develop a range of powers that might make him more powerful in the future. Each day was a tough schedule of training and polishing his skills to the highest level he could achieve. Izuku had developed incredible vertical maneuvering skills. He could mount walls and trees with ease, his movements smooth and almost easy. This ability enabled him to explore surroundings in ways that other people could not, providing him an advantage in both stealth and battle scenarios. Initially, the water waking skills were the most difficult. Balancing on the surface of water required not only mana control but also a great deal of mental concentration. After months of practice, Izuku was able to walk, run, and fight on water as if it were solid land. With a blade in hand, Izuku transformed into a tornado of accurate and lethal attacks. His mastery of advanced dagger skills made him a dangerous opponent in close combat, with razor-sharp reflexes and pinpoint accuracy. Izuku's gun skills had greatly improved. He'd spent many hours at shooting ranges, perfecting his skills using ebony and ivory until they felt like extensions of his body. His aim was perfect, and he handled weaponry with speed and confidence. Handling a sword had become second nature for him. His swordsmanship abilities had evolved to the point that he could perform complex motions and techniques with ease and precision. He also focused on honing his Sharingan abilities. Initially unlocked in response to extreme situations, his Sharingan had now progressed to level 3 through intense training and focus. During this time, Izuku had regular appointments with a quirk counselor. His goal was to obtain a license to carry firearms as soon as possible, which was required by the conditions of his unique quirk. Understanding particular requirements and probable risks linked with Izuku's quirk, the counselor eventually concluded that early access to weapons was justified. With valid permissions in place, Izuku could now legally carry and use firearms, adding a valuable tool to his arsenal. During these months of hard training, Izuku's Aunt Mitsuki and Uncle Masuru sometimes paid visits. Since his parents' tragic deaths, the Bakugo family has provided financial support for Izuku, covering his food and fees for school. They even attempted to adopt him, but Izuku declined because of his complicated relationship with Katsuki. The Bakugo family, except Karsuki, arrived at Izuku's home on a lovely afternoon. Mitsuki and Masuru were eager to see how Izuku was progressing, but nothing could have prepared them for the transformation that was ahead. As they reached his home, they were taken aback by Izuku's new look. Mitsuki. "Oh, Izuku. You look so different, and so mature," she exclaimed, her voice full of surprise and parental pride. Masaru nodded in agreement. Masuru. "It's quite impressive." Izuku, embarrassed by his new appearance, rubbed the back of his head and smiled slightly. Izuku. "Thank you, and Mitsuki, Uncle Masaru. It's part of my quirk." As they sat down to tea, Mitsuki couldn't help but ask about Izuku's training. Mitsuki. "So, what have you been up to recently, Izuku? We know you're training hard, but what are you working on?" Izuku explained his focus on honing his skills, describing his improvements in wall and tree climbing, water walking, and his advanced mastery of various weapons. He also mentioned his sessions with the quirk counselor and the recent permission he had received to carry firearms. Masaru looked concerned but supportive. "Masuru, you're really putting in the effort, aren't you? Just make sure you don't overdo it. Your health is just as important as your training." Izuku nodded, appreciating the concern. Izuku. "I will, Uncle Masaru. I know it's important to balance things." As the visit came to an end, Mitsuki hugged Izuku tightly. Mitsuki. "Remember, we're always here for you, Izuku. If you need anything, don't hesitate to call us." Masaru patted Izuku on the shoulder. Masuru. "Take care, son. We're proud of you." Izuku. "I will, and please don't tell Katsuki abilities. Can't show all cards at the beginning." They share a small laugh before leaving. Izuku smiled, feeling warm and grateful. The Bakugos sincerely cared about him. Present. Today was an important day for Izuku Midoriya. After months of intense training and preparation, it was finally time for the UA high school entrance exam. Izuku awoke early, his mind concentrated and his body motivated by the rigorous training regimen he had followed. Izuku began his day with his customary morning routine, which included his daily quest, a series of tasks intended to keep him disciplined and focused. He quickly changed clothing to ensure he was comfortable for the exam, then took a moment to calm his nerves. Standing in front of the mirror, Izuku took a big breath. His reflection revealed a young man with white hair and one brilliant blue eye, demonstrating the remarkable powers he had developed. Today would be the peak of his hard work and determination. After a short breakfast, Izuku left his apartment and headed to UA high school. The streets were filled with other wannabe heroes, all heading in the same direction. The atmosphere was filled with excitement and tense curiosity. But this moment is ruined by certain blonde dynamite. Katsuki. Get out of my way or I will set you on fire. He threatened Izuku. Izuku. Good luck to you as well, he replied, undeterred by the threat, before moving to the side. Katsuki. TCH. He snarls and walks his way inside UA. Izuku shook his head. Izuku. Something never changes. Time to. He was tripped by an uneven tile. Seriously, my sense is at 97, but I tripped, he said, as he fell, extended his hands for a front flip, but to his surprise, he was floating. Huh. Oh, it was me, a female voice said to Izuku, making him look at the female as he was upside down. I stopped you with my quirk. I'm sorry for not asking, but it'd be bad luck if you fell, right? The female teenager claimed before she put Izuku back at his 2 feet. Izuku couldn't agree more. He agrees with the female savior. Aren't you nervous? She asked. Izuku. No, I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. But yeah, I was quite nervous, he answered, scratching the back of his head. The female teenager smiles. Let's do our best. See ya, she said excitedly before running to the examination hall. Izuku. She is a nice girl, he said, smiling. Then he walked to the examination hall as well. As the test papers were handed over, the room was filled with tension. Students wildly turned over pages, their pencils scrubbing against the paper. Time passed as questions tested the limits of their knowledge and rapid thinking. Despite the intense chaos, Izuku worked carefully, his mind breaking down each question with speed and accuracy that surpassed expectations. 30 minutes later, Izuku gently set down his pen, his test complete. Other students got glances at him, some in disbelief, some impressed, and a few jealous. Katsuki observed with a mixture of amazement and angry respect. He expected Izuku to struggle and possibly fail under the pressure of the sought exam, but here he was, finishing before record time. Mr. Ectoplasm, the teacher, raised an eyebrow as he collected the papers and scanned Izuku's answers. After an awkward period of consideration, he informed the students. Ectoplasm. Izuku Midoriya has passed. After his announcement, there was silence, broken only by whispers of disbelief and admiration. Bakugo's scowl grew as his mind raced to figure out what he had witnessed. After finishing the writing exam, Izuku found himself alone in the quiet auditorium, the air tense with expectation for the entrance of the other test takers. As the minutes passed into an hour, the hall filled with students from various schools, with each group settling into assigned places. However, fate appeared set to put Izuku to the test even more. As the final few students arrived, he realized with a terrible sense that the seating arrangement had been coordinated by the schools. Among the sea of unknown faces, one struck out. Katsuki was seated obviously near where Izuku had been seated. Katsuki. Deku, he started, his voice a low growl with a hint of envious respect, you finished the test early. Don't think that impresses me. Izuku just rolled his eyes and said, Izuku. Whatever, he said flatly, which further angered Bakugo. Before he could say something, spotlights shone on the stage. Present Mike stood there, grinning. Mike. Welcome to the live performance, everyone. Can I have a hey from the crowd? He spoke excitedly, flailing his arms around before snapping his fingers and pointing at the audience. Just to be met with silence. Mike. Keeping it mellow, cool. Izuku. I thought he looked familiar. It's the voice hero President Mike. He mutters, his old self would be fanboying right now. Mike. Now, let me explain how this terrible practical will go down. As stated on the application, today you rockin', boys and girls will participate in 20-minute mock combat in suburban settings. Better tighten up your belts, because after I drop the mic here, you'll be taken to a certain fight center. Sound good? Again, there was silence, but only because everyone was looking at their application cards. Katsuki. I understand, he said as he instantly noticed something about the cards. They're dividing us up, so we cannot work together with friends. Izuku. Yes, you're correct. My and your examinees' numbers are correct, but we were in different battle centers. He held up his card. My card says I'm in Center B while you're in Center A. Bakugo cursed under his breath. Katsuki. Damn, I was looking forward to crushing you. Izuku. Katsuki, if you think crushing me is your biggest challenge today, you're severely underestimating this exam. Focus on yourself first. For a moment, Bakugo was stunned into silence, his eyes widening slightly. The intensity in Izuku's voice left no room for argument, and he found himself momentarily at a loss for words. Mike. Now everyone can start it. He said, getting everyone's attention. Let's look at your goals. Every fighting center has one of 3 categories of fake bad guys. I hope you keep count because the number of points you receive is based on how challenging they are. Listeners, use your quirk to remove as many artificial criminals as you can to obtain the highest possible score. Ladies and gentlemen, just be sure that you keep your heroism. Non-heroic action is prohibited. Excuse me, sir, but I have a question. Everyone turned to the question as a tall boy with glasses and blue hair shot straight up from his chair and raised his hand high. Mike, hit me, the announcer said as a spotlight came down on the boy. You've specified 4 different categories of villains on the printout, not 3. He pointed to his booklet, which listed 4 villains in alphabetical order from A to D. If the UA made a mistake here, it is dishonorable for the most esteemed school in Japan to do so. And you. Suddenly he turned around and pointed at Izuku, making him raise his eyebrow. You have been muttering the whole time. If you are just here on some pleasure trip, then you should leave. You're distracting the rest of us. Izuku. I am taking this seriously, but a hero is all doom and gloom because we aren't simply here to learn how to beat up the villains. We are here to inspire people and save lives. Please do not disrupt the present Mike. I'm quite sure he was going over the 4th one. The young man becomes enraged by such an inappropriate remark. He turns to face him, ready to rip into him with a severe tongue lashing, but present Mike steps in. Mike. Ha 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 ha. Examine 24,601 made an excellent point. If you're too fired up, you're more likely to lose sight of what's important. However, be too relaxed, and you'll die young. I admire the competitive atmosphere in the room right now, but anti-heroes are not allowed. Fighting is strictly prohibited, so please sit down. He shouts, actually shouts, his final words forcing the entire structure to tremble. The young man reluctantly sits down, but not before giving Izuku an angry look. Mike. Now, ahem. The 4th foe villain must be avoided. Think of these as thwomps from the classic Mario games. There are only 2 subcategories for them. Giant and small sizes. Avoid them at all costs, but go beyond your limits. He performs a bright gesture as the screen displays the sign to dismiss the audience. Mike. I'll leave you, hopeful listeners, with our school motto and some words of wisdom. The great Napoleon Bonaparte once said, true heroism consists in being superior to the ills of life. Go beyond plus ultra. The bus ride to the battle station was fast but noisy and chaotic. Examinees were squeezed together shoulder to shoulder, and some of the wild ones began talking loudly, either bragging about themselves or attempting to scare out considered weak targets. Izuku paid no attention to it, concentrating on the task ahead. When the bus came to a stop, he got off as swiftly as possible. The white-haired boy took a quick moment to appreciate how big UA's campus truly was. They must have had a lot of money to afford all of this. Days before the exam, he was asked to fill out documentation allowing him to use the guns as long as he wouldn't harm any examinee, which was classified as a part of a quirk. Fortunately, the school granted his request. Izuku summoned his pistols and prepared